Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
A2D Radio. We're in the Real Talk Studios, Mount E from New Jersey. 8 to 10, Sports Hounds got you. New and improved studio. We got some nice executive chairs here, improving the comfort of the on-air talent. Huge shout out for them because those couches were brutal, Tom. Brutal.
Rest in peace, couch.
This is very
Brutal couches.
I like
Huge
these chairs.
upgrade for the Real Talk Studios. Brad, we're talking football. As always, we're brought to you every Monday by Gibson Mayer LLC, certified public accountants, GibsonMayer.LLC.com. Get the Scans Honor Sports poll question of the day in just a few minutes. But, Brad, week one, Giants go down. Dallas looked horrible. Washington looked pretty good out west. I don't know if the Redskins looked bad or the Cardinals just looked
the Cardinals
Looks pathetic.
are abysmal.
But getting to the Scantana Sports poll question, who won week one? Who impressed you the most? We got home squad, the Philadelphia Eagles. You got the Kansas City Chiefs, looked excellent at San Diego. Tampa Bay, coming out of nowhere, hanging half 100 on the Saints in the Superdome. And we had one more. Oh, the Ravens, who 47-3 over the sorry, hapless Buffalo Bills.
Instead of going with the Buccaneers as a team, I would just go with Fitzpatrick.
Fitzmagic, you mean?
Yeah, Fitz. What a exhibition yesterday. I mean, of all the guys that you would see play, that was an unbelievable exhibition yesterday that he put on. What a performance.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it's not going to happen in a million, billion freaking years because the Eagles are an absolute lock. Lock it in next week. They're going to beat Tampa Bay, lined up at -3. Bet them big, bet them early. Eagles cover that line. No freaking
hands down.
No
I agree
freaking
with you.
problem.
I think with the Bucs, it's going to be a dose of reality. Once they see the D line that the Eagles have, reality is going to set in, and the Bucs
However,
are going to
The
struggle.
first time Fitzpatrick gets pressure, because I don't think that he actually had any pressure yesterday.
None whatsoever.
None. It's going to be a little different story for him. They're playing a defense where they're stepping up in class quite a bit. So, but I'll tell you, that doesn't take away from his performance. And I was mentioning to you guys before the show started, I was doing a little research on Fitzpatrick. I believe he was the 257th pick in the draft in 2004. He started 104 games as a pro. And
I believe it's been 7 teams.
yeah, and he now has lifetime, believe it or not, over 27,000 yards passing.
He's carved out a great, and then when he's done, he went to Harvard.
Yeah,
He'll
I
be
mean,
fine
Harvard.
at football too.
for a guy that I don't think anybody really thinks.
I mean, he's won
twice
games.
about.
He's won games with the Jets. He's won games with the Bills. He's won game with the Bucks now.
Yeah, I mean,
I remember him on the Rams.
he's a
if
guy.
I'm not mistaken.
He's a guy you would never in a million years think actually has put together that kind of a career. But
Now, how did I word this poll question, Frank?
The poll question is, who looked the best during week
Who
one?
looked the best?
Who
So,
looked the best?
Not the biggest surprise.
Not the biggest surprise,
Who looked
but
the
who
best?
looked the best.
You know who looked the best, Frank?
Who did look the best?
The Philadelphia freaking Eagles. Hey, say what you want about Nick Foles and that offense. I was as frustrated as anybody with both Nick Foles' performance and the offensive game plan.
I was more frustrated over that lightning delay, but
That was frustrating, too, especially when I had to be up the next morning. But before they ran Philly or Philly special, whatever variation they called, that offensive game plan and quarterback performance was piss poor. The quarterback performance was still piss poor, but they got the win. I couldn't watch him roll out to the right and throw a 2-yard out one more. I was losing my freaking mind. They got to be better. They got to open up the playbook a little bit for Nick Foles next week because that offensive performance on Thursday night was absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah, but that defensive performance against a team like Atlanta was just
12
outstanding.
Points they gave up
Against that offense?
against
Yeah.
Atlanta.
That's an
Brad, last
outstanding
week you
job.
picked Atlanta to win the Super Bowl.
And you know what?
They can still win the Super Bowl.
They can still win the Super
But
Bowl.
you
Losing
let
to
it-
the Super Bowl champions on the road is not exactly.
But you look at how that
disgrace,
defense
you know?
played. 3 goal line stands. You let up 12 points to a pretty good offense. The only player who did anything of any substance was Julio Jones.
Yeah.
You
Julio is
got
basically unstoppable, but they were able to stop the rest of the team.
2
pretty
goal
much.
line stands, 2 four down stops, and 1 interception in the red zone. I mean, 12 points to a quarterback like Matt Ryan, who's won the MVP before, an all-world receiver.
The defense was brilliant.
I mean,
Plain and simple. That defense was absolutely.
they were in
brilliant.
Matt Ryan's grill all night.
To be able to hold a team like that to 12 points and keep them out of the end zone. That's saying an awful lot.
Absolutely. Well, they got in the end zone
that's-
once. They missed an extra point.
Did the Falcons get a touchdown?
Yes.
They did.
Yes, they did. They ran it. I think Tevin Coleman ran it in.
It was. Yep.
Okay.
Tevin
I
Coleman
thought-
had the touchdown. The
So
rest
they let
were
up
Matt
6.
Bryant
Right,
field
so they got
goals.
it.
6, missed the extra point, and then 2 field goals.
Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered though.
That's fine. I mean, I thought the Eagles.
The Eagles played a solid game. I mean, listen, you don't get graded for for how pretty the win was. A win is a win, and they beat one of the top teams in the NFL. And their defense did a nice job, and their defense has proven once again that they are still an elite defense.
And they're going to coast. They're going to coast next week. They're going to coast next week at Tampa Bay. I'm not worried about in the least. Ryan Fitzpatrick is not throwing for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns against the Philadelphia Eagles. And Nick Foles can't be that bad again. He can't be. You can't get any worse. 117 yards and a pick. He was awful. He was awful.
He didn't have a strong game, but again, they're not going to have to play.
Didn't have a strong game. He looked terrible. Let's call it what it is. Nick Foles looked like a backup quarterback. He did not look like the Super Bowl MVP. He did not look like the quarterback that carved up the Vikings in the NFC Championship game.
I mean,
he wasn't good.
He kind of is a backup quarterback.
He is
but
a backup
played,
quarterback.
He played fantastically well last year.
I think he's
when
a
it mattered
starting
most.
quarterback in a backup role because of the situation. I think he's better than about 8 to 10 starting quarterbacks. Can't tell me one start on the sorry, hopeless Buffalo Bills.
Oh,
They stink.
absolutely. I'm sure there's plenty of other teams he could start for too. I mean, he's just he's not Wentz, but when Wentz is cleared by the doctors, he will play.
Which Chris Mortensen said sooner rather than later in a tweet today, where that means it doesn't look like it's going to be this week, but it's against the Colts, against the Titans. Then they got Week 5 against the Vikings. I'd like to have him have a few games under his belt before the Vikings come to town. I wouldn't want his first game to be against that defense. That might be a little tough.
That would be a tough way to open, but we'll see what happens here.
Getting to the Facebook comments, Christopher Patrick O'Neill, he thinks the Eagles are most impressive. Guy Savory, he thinks the Chiefs were the most impressive. Patrick Mahomes looked fantastic. Chromo checking in. I have to say Baltimore looked the best, and Tampa Bay was the biggest surprise. I mean, okay. Thomas Arnone, bunch of Eagles emojis. It was a wild week 1, Chromo. No question about it. It's the Chiefs. What up, boys? Bucks was the biggest surprise for me. Bucks were definitely the biggest surprise.
Oh yeah.
Biggest surprise.
To go into New Orleans and beat that team in that building, that's and
But let's not
everybody was expecting the Bucks to be just a miserable team this year, and obviously they're going to
Well,
be.
let's not forget they
they're gonna
let
be
up
okay,
40.
too.
They let up 40 too.
That's true, but the game was kind of over when the New Orleans made that furious rally. I mean, didn't they have a huge lead in that
They
game?
did. They're up. They went up like 48-32, and that was kind of the nail.
Well, wasn't it more than that at one point though?
It's 31-17. I was watching Red Zone all day. I don't remember the official, but it was 48-32 at one point in the
Okay.
second.
Yeah.
And that was kind of
Yeah, I mean
that was kind of that.
They just got off to Tampa Bay just got off to such a great start in that game, and they got themselves a nice lead, and New Orleans was able to come back, but they weren't able to win, and
Greg Milikova, what up, fellas? Football's officially back. Bucks for me. it was so unexpected. I was shocked to see Patty Mahomes lighting up through though out in L.A. Patrick Mahomes played excellent yesterday.
Yeah, he's got
Absolutely excellent.
He's got a Wurlitzer for an arm. I'll tell you.
And go ahead. YouTube.
We have a sperm cell. Why would Wentz wait till week 4? He would play such a tough schedule from there on out. He's not waiting for anything.
Guess what?
He's waiting for the doctors to clear him. When the doctors clear him, he's going to play. If they clear him for this week, he'll be in there week 2. Do you think that? Do you guys think Doug Peterson doesn't want to play him? I mean, come on. Let's be serious. I mean,
and it's a first place schedule. Every game's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean they all have, actually, if you look at it, the NFC East, all those teams have pretty brutal schedules this year.
They do.
I mean, the
Eagles will play the first place Vikings.
Nobody's playing the Buffalo Bills. Other
the
than
AFC South is a respectable division.
Other than Washington, nobody gets to play the Cardinals this year. I mean, there are no teams like that on anybody's schedule in the NFC East other than the Redskins, and the Redskins will come back to earth. But boy, the Cardinals they look pretty abysmal yesterday. Sam Bradford just
they should just play the kid.
Stunk up the.
They should just play the kid. They should just put Rosen in. Or what the hell's the difference?
Might.
How much worse can he do? Can he do worse?
He was pretty bad yesterday. I mean, that was just an awful display by the Arizona Cardinals.
Ian Zimmerman, everyone's super impressed with the Bucs, but all I saw was a defense that got walked all over. The secondary got picked to pieces. Fitz won't have nearly as much time in the pocket next week. Birds win with ease. Baltimore played the Bills, who were absolutely atrocious. Our Birds struggled, but what did you expect? Missing key players. The Chiefs looked the best of these 4 teams, special teams, offense, defense, and looked. If Mahomes continues to play at a high level, Reed might win a playoff game. Tom Arnone's happy football's back. The Eagles have the best defense in football. I cannot argue with that.
Oh, I can.
At all.
I can. I think Jacksonville is just as good.
Why? Because they beat your Giants?
No, just the talent.
That's what. The Eagles' defense is better.
Than Jacksonville?
Yes.
I strongly disagree.
The Saints' defense.
In any event, Jacksonville's offense is not even on the same planet as the Eagles, so there's no argument there. So,
James Scholhoff, I think we get a win over Tampa this week. Guys,
yeah, I would think you would.
Bet it now. Bet it big. Get it -3 before it goes up. Get it -3. Get that rent paid early in the month. It was kind of the middle of the month. You get it taken care of. Because Ryan Fitzpatrick's not going to do that again. Not against the Eagles' defense. It's not happening.
He's not going to have all day to throw.
Mike Evans is a tremendous receiver, but Julio Jones is a tremendous receiver too.
Mike Evans will get his yards, but you know what?
Just like Julio Jones did. You keep him out of the end zone. They're not going to be able to run the ball against the Eagles.
No.
I'm not worried about this game in the least.
Listen,
in the least.
Tampa Bay will probably – but they could score between 14 and 21
this
points.
This might
but
be an
the Eagles will probably score 40.
This might be a road shutout for the boys next week.
Oh, I think you're kind of getting.
It might be a road shutout.
I think you're getting a little carried away here.
I'm not getting carried away at all. This is good. This is a rock solid win. 24-0 Birds. It's get one of these nice chairs. We don't have recliners on these chairs. But
I don't know.
If you got
I don't know about a shutout. I think
if you got a chair
I
that
think
reclines, you're going to be putting it up in about the third quarter, and it's not because the Bucs are going to be struggling to get the ball over midfield. It's a fact.
I think that you're underrating them a little bit. I mean, you got to give them a little bit of credit. They did
I'm
play
not.
a pretty good game.
They don't. All they have to do. The only place they can go is down.
Well, yeah, I would agree with that.
And let's not forget, they won the game. They let up 40 points.
They still won in New Orleans, though, and that's a very difficult place to win.
Well, maybe the Saints ain't got it this year. Maybe the Saints don't have it.
Well, maybe they're a one-dimensional team this year. Maybe they're just a good offense and an awful defense.
Clearly.
That's
Tom Arnone points out that the Saints' defense is brutal.
The Saints' defense
was brutal.
Was good last year, but, other than last year, really, their defense has never been all that great. They've always been the kind of defense that doesn't really hold teams to punch. They take the ball away a lot, but they're not one of those teams that
they took the ball away a lot last year. This isn't last year.
No, it's a different year.
Well, anyway, moving on to some of the winners, some of the big losers of the weekend. Did you see?
Obviously
Did you
the
see?
Buffalo Bills.
Well, the Bills stink. I don't think we need
Yeah,
to go into great detail about the Bulls. There's just the Bills. Excuse me, not the NBA. Talk about the NFL. The Bills just got nothing.
Yeah, they're awful.
They got nothing.
They're gonna. I'll tell you. Here's another team that really spit the bit yesterday. The Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
What a disappointing loss for them. I mean, how do you lose to the Miami Dolphins? I
Yeah.
don't care if that game's in Siberia. No excuses for Tennessee. I mean, I know that Mariota missed a little time, but it shouldn't matter. Miami is awful.
I mean, Dallas was brutally bad.
Particularly their offense.
Talk about having nothing.
They have
those
their
receivers are terrible.
those receivers are terrible. You
And,
know, you know, I think you're going to see Dak.
If you're going to release a
little
talent, like I
confidence.
know Des Bryant's a pain in the ass, and he's not a good team guy, and he drops the ball. He doesn't run good routes. I mean, he's still a physical. For you to release a
He's
guy
still-
like Des Bryant,
he's still an upgrade over what you have right now. But
you
they
can't
lost
release
him.
you can't release a guy like Des Bryant when you have that.
Well, they also lost. They also lost Jason Witten. I mean, that's a huge loss for them.
They're dead
I mean-
dead last in the East, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think the
Dead
Giants
last.
are going to go in there. I mean, I thought I saw some good things out of the Giants yesterday. Yes, they lost, and I mean, it doesn't get uglier than flubbing a punt with 55 seconds to go. That was awful.
That was
but
bad, but
I
you're
kinda
you're
liked-
playing the Jaguars. The Jaguars are a way better team than the Giants, and you had a chance to win with under 5 minutes to go.
Absolutely, they were in the game, and I mean,
Eli Manning must play better if they're going to get to that
Eli
9,
Manning
10,
has
win,
to be
10 win mark.
Eli Manning has to be able to throw the ball without having somebody hanging off him. I mean, that their offensive line, in particularly one Eric Flowers, he's not an NFL player. He needs to be
No,
cut.
he's horrible.
He needs to be cut.
I thought Eli missed
he's the
Odell.
worst.
I thought Eli missed Odell on a couple
he missed
deep
two.
shots.
He missed 2 times with Odell.
He missed twice deep.
Yeah, absolutely. He had him wide open for a touchdown, but again, you know, he had big pressure on that one play. But you know, that's something Eli's
He's got to
gonna
hit
have
it. He's got to get it. The one, he kind of ran like a skinny post.
Yeah,
He's in the
but
middle
he
of the
was sitting,
field.
He
He
was
had
sitting wide open in the end zone, and he missed him. He overthrew him because he had to throw the ball too soon. Because as usual, the Giants' offensive line couldn't.
That's the difference
couldn't stop
between having
anybody.
it and not having it. Good teams hit those plays.
Oh, absolutely. Keep in mind, though, I mean, the Jaguars' defense, they're not going to be seeing defenses like that every week. But unfortunately, you know, for the Giants, you know, their schedule this year is going to involving the Jaguars, the Eagles, and the Vikings. I mean, they're going to be playing the 3 best defenses in the NFL this year. So, you know what? They still have 2 to go. They still actually have 3 games to go against those defenses. So they're going to have to
You don't
improve
play the
a lot.
You don't play the Vikings.
Don't they play that division? Oh no, they don't
No,
play
no.
that division.
No.
They play
We play the
South.
Vikings. We
Oh,
play
you
the
play
Vikings because we have a first place
we play
schedule.
we play the Bears, so we're gonna have to deal with
You-
Khalil Mack. Which
We play
which
the
isn't gonna
both
be easy.
Souths. We play the NFC
Okay.
East plays the NFC South and the AFC South.
So they're gonna have to play Carolina's defense.
So you play
Yeesh, and
you
Atlanta's
play either
defense, they might
you're going to
score.
play either the Bears or the Lions at some point. I think it's the Bears.
the Bears, I believe. Well, we'll see.
'Cause
The
they
Bears look
both
like a
finished
completely
last.
the Bears look like a completely different team defensively with
Well,
Khalil Mack in the first
I mean,
half.
I can't believe there's still people on Facebook and social media and have the opinion that trade was dumb for the Bears.
No,
Or
it was dumb
smart
for
for
it
Oakland.
was dumb for the Raiders. You don't dump the best defensive player in the NFL. Or
Did you see him in
arguably
the first
best-
half? It's
Yeah,
a
he-
Lawrence Taylor-esque first half.
Yeah, he was dominant.
A Reggie White first half he had.
He was dominant. What I didn't realize about him is how fast he can run. I
He's
mean,
a stud. He's a freak.
he does remind me a lot of Lawrence Taylor.
He's the only player in NFL history to make first-team All-Pro at 2 positions in the same season.
That's remarkable. I mean, he's a great player. He's really unstoppable defensively.
And like I don't understand how you can't find a way to pay him.
well,
I don't get it.
You'd have to talk to Chucky because Chucky let him go. I mean, that was just not smart.
And now you're gonna try and find the next Khalil Mack with all these draft picks when you just traded away the real Khalil Mack in the first place. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, the stupidity I heard is,
How can you
we
pay
can find,
John? How can
we
you
can find 3 $8 million players. Yeah, and you don't know that those $8 million players are actually going to be good for your team.
That's great.
You know, that's no lock.
No,
you
because
you never know what you're going to get in free agency or the draft. I mean, you've got one of the best players in the NFL. You got a guy that's like a Lawrence Taylor type player who can run and who can either run around you or run through you to get sacks and do everything else. I mean, it's crazy.
You don't trade talent like that.
No.
And
you
he had
build
a strip.
around.
He had a
build
sack.
around talent
He had a sack fumble and a pick six in the first half.
Yeah, you build around that kind of team. It's just the stupidity factor there is just ridiculous.
But you're gonna pay John Gruden for 10 years, $100 million.
And you don't have money. And you don't have money to pay Khalil Mack.
And John Gruden's going to make no plays. He's going to catch no balls. He's going to make no tackles. You're paying him $100 million, and you're telling Khalil Mack to go kick rocks.
Yeah,
what are you doing? I don't get it. And
well, that organization, I don't understand that.
And I felt
you're going back to the Al Davis stupidity again. You know, back when Al Davis was running the team.
If Al Davis was alive, he would have never let that happen.
No, he would not have traded.
He would have fired Gruden before that happened.
Well, he wouldn't have hired Gruden if he even had an inkling it would have happened. But I mean, that's just it. What happened to Stafford? He's holding his knee.
Stafford is coming up lame.
That's not good
that's
for
not
Stafford.
Good for, that's
Scrapping
not good for
the knee.
Stafford. He's still in there, though.
He's still in there.
Yeah.
He's still in there.
Speaking of injured quarterbacks, how about Aaron Rodgers last night?
Yeah, he put on. He got hurt, then went into the locker room, put on his Superman cape in the second half, came out and
he got loaded up with some drugs too.
Yeah, right.
Based on his post-game interview, did you see that?
Yeah, well,
boy, he was in La La Land talking to
some pain.
I guess it was
he had some
Michelle
painkillers.
Tafoya.
Yeah, he he had some good painkillers.
He got that
there.
good stuff. He stepped up from Motrin.
But I'll tell you what, whatever it was, he sure as hell was throwing some great passes. I mean, the Bears. I got to tell you something. How do you allow a 75-yard touchdown pass like that at the end of the game?
Well,
you cannot.
They have a lot of good players on defense.
Happen.
They're much improved, but there's still a lot of young players, and
They're still, unfortunately for them, the Bears are improved, but they're still the Bears.
When push came to shove, I mean, Aaron Rodgers picked them apart, which happens.
Which is what he does.
I mean, they need better quarterback play themselves because I thought their defense played fine. Their skill position players played fine. Mitchell Trubisky's got to go. He's got to be better.
I mean, the Green Bay Packers defense is not good.
Green Bay is not that good. Period. They just have the best.
But they have the greatest quarterback in the world right now, and that includes Tom Brady, guys. He is better than Tom Brady.
I don't know about that. He's top 2. He's a top 5 overall player in the league.
I think at this point of his career, I think he's got a better arm, and he's a little better
he's
now.
He's always nicked up though.
Who? Rodgers?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I mean, you got to give him credit. He's been.
He's excellent.
He's unbelievable.
He's excellent.
I mean, the way he just shoots that ball out. I mean, it's unbelievable. And you know, if you ever notice with Rodgers, when he throws a completed pass, okay, he never the ball is always where it should be, so that the receiver can catch it while running in mid-flight and gain the most yardage he can. It's never behind a guy. It's never too low. It's always right where it's got to be, and that's part of what makes him so good. I mean, he's so accurate in everything he does. It's remarkable.
I mean, hopefully his injury's not too serious because a big part of his game is his mobility.
Well, I mean, he was able to come back and play last night, so I would imagine he'll be okay for next Sunday. You know, he may not practice that much this week, but he'll be back. You watch.
Aaron Rodgers didn't need to practice.
No.
Ralphie Delavecco, what's up, fellas? Go Birds. So I assume his answer to the poll question was the Eagles. Look, for a defense in the NFL where all the rules are cultivated to benefit the offense.
And to allow the offense to score.
Allow them to score points and gain yards because that's what people want to see. That's what drives ratings, offense. People don't want to see an 18-12 game today. They just don't.
No,
It's
that's
not
true.
the mid-90s. They want to see games 36-23, like the Colts game and the Bengals yesterday. They want to see 38-28, I think, was the final of the Chiefs and the Chargers game. Fans want to see games like that. So in a league where every godforsaken rule is tailor-made for that to happen, for a team to let up 12 points to a good team, by the way, both of them, I think all three of us had them in the playoffs last week on our predictions. They have 12 points, one touchdown,
I still think
2
that they're
field
gonna,
goals,
I still think
and
they're going to win.
a missed extra point.
I still think they're going to win that division. I just, just because you,
Yeah, they
because you
might.
lose
I
to
mean, the Falcons
you
are
lost
not
to the
done.
Super Bowl, but you lost to the Super Bowl champions on the road. It's not like they
It's
had
not,
a terrible
but the
loss.
Eagles' defense was extremely impressive. Is my overlying
It
point.
was outstanding.
12 points. 12
It
points.
was outstanding, no question.
They had the pressure that they got. And let's not forget, they didn't even have Nigel Bradham
No,
in that game. He was suspended.
no. I will say this: the Carolina Panthers defense looked pretty good. I know that the Cowboys aren't exactly the Falcons, but the Carolina Panthers defense yesterday looked pretty darn good too.
They did.
I mean,
they have
Luke
good
Kuechly,
players.
Luke Kuechly was all over the field yesterday.
Kuechly's everywhere. Dak Prescott stinks. I don't want to
Well,
hear the
yeah,
Skip
he's-
Baylesses and all the crumbs of Dallas Nation tell me that Dak Prescott is qualified to do Carson Wentz's laundry, because he's absolutely 100% not. I'm not even sure Dak Prescott's better than Nick Foles.
Right now, I don't know that Dak Prescott is necessarily going to be the starting quarterback by the end of the season this year.
I'll tell you what,
Because
that was
with
a
that- with that-
brutal performance by the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean their receivers couldn't catch anything.
You know what the good thing about that is, Brad, is that we won't have to be here and talk.
Oh, yeah, well, it'll keep
At
the
all.
it'll keep the cockroaches. Shut.
Cockroaches will be at bay.
Yes. And they're going to be. And let me tell you something. They're going to be 0-2 next week after they play the Giants.
Yeah,
Because I thought the Giants played pretty well against
Yeah, I would
Jacksonville.
favor-
Just Jacksonville is a better team than the Giants. I mean, we can't get around that. I mean, they just are. But playing Dallas and their defense compared to playing Jacksonville and their defense, I think that Eli will get a little bit more time to throw, and I think he's going to be successful.
yeah,
and
I would favor that.
I think Barkley will get his yardage. I think Odell will be in the end zone a couple of times. I mean, I expect the Giants to finally break 30 points, which it hasn't been done in like 2 or 3 years now. I would say it's.
If
I'm
they don't
looking
do
at
it if they don't do it next week, they'll definitely score 30 in a game this year.
I'm thinking
sure.
along the lines of maybe 31-17 Giants.
I wouldn't even bet on Dallas to even get that many points.
Well, you know what? Before I give the Giant defense any Kinaharas, keep in mind that Fournette was hurt. Okay, and in the second half he didn't play, and Jacksonville's offense, even with Fournette, is not exactly, shall we say, the San Diego Chargers offense with Dan Fouts. Nobody's going to confuse him for that. And when they were just giving the ball to Yeldon, they just had no chance yesterday. But I got to tell you, Blake Bortles stinks. I mean, he is terrible. And to see the fact that he put 45 points up last year against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I still am shaking my head. Because Blake Bortles,
He was tossing in that game though. I think he gets a bad rap, honestly. He's not. Is he a top 15 quarterback? Probably not.
no,
But he's
well,
good enough to keep the train on the track, so to speak.
He can
with
run.
Fournette running the ball.
He can run.
He's
That's-
mobile, and that defense.
Well, here's a question for you: is Fournette going to be able to play next week against New England? That's
The coach
that's a
said
big
after the
factor.
game that his hamstring injury was minor. We'll see. I have no idea. For fantasy football purposes, I hope he's good to go. I'm on a bunch of my teams. I like him a lot. I think he's a real good player.
Yeah,
And he is absolutely essential to the Jacksonville Jaguars' success.
Oh yeah, especially when they're playing a team like New England. That's they've got to be able
And
to
they
run
got
the
New
ball and
England
control
next
the
week.
ball. Yeah, I mean listen. As good as their defense is, you still don't want New England's offense out there too long. And how about the Pittsburgh Steelers, Rob? I mean,
They
that's
played
gotta
horrible and got a tie.
That's got to be one of the most brutal ties I've ever seen a team have. I mean, they missed a field goal in overtime. They blew a 21-7 lead in the fourth quarter. Roethlisberger threw 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter. I believe the Browns had created 6 turnovers yesterday. I mean, that is not championship football for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And to get a tie against that team, and what's amazing is the Browns I'm talking about. I know the Steelers.
But they were
missed a field
lucky to
goal.
get. They were lucky to get a tie.
The Browns had a field goal attempt blocked.
43-yard
Yeah,
attempt.
that would they could have given them the win. I mean,
They're such losers there.
who, the Browns?
Yeah, they're
They're
losers.
just- do you know
They're
that
pathetic. How do you not win
for
that
the
game?
first time
They've been through 4 picks.
they
You
had
have a
6 turnovers?
you
Pittsburgh.
have a 42-yarder
6
at the
turnovers.
uh,
That's insane. Six turnovers and you can't win the game?
it was terrible. It was terrible. If they're not going to win that one and finally beat Pittsburgh, they'll never win. How do you not win that game?
I don't know.
43-yard field goal. That's 10 yards further than an extra point. The kick never had a chance.
No.
Never had a chance.
How about this pass by Sam Darnold? Check
Sam
this
Darnold
out.
is slinging on Monday Night Football right
Look
now.
at this pass. Wow.
He threw an absolutely awful pick 6 on his first drop back of the game. But since then,
But
he
be
has
able to turn around and play. Look at that pass.
he has
I
been
mean,
carving up the Detroit Lions just before halftime there. It's 17-7.
wow.
New
I
York
mean, that's
Jets.
unbelievable. What a pass and what a catch. The Jets are putting a shock to the Detroit Lions right now.
Well, Brad, you know how you make the NFL just instantly better with one quick decision?
Draft a good quarterback.
No. You change the NFL by you eliminate these stupid Thursday night games and do a doubleheader on Monday night every week.
Oh, I
Isn't
agree.
that a no-brainer?
The Thursday
How
night
fun
games,
is this? A 7-10 game and then a 10-20 game?
A Thursday night game is a waste because all you do is end up getting these teams hurt. They're playing 3 days after they play Sunday
the
and
first
then they're playing
one,
Thursday.
The first one I'm fine with. You start the season on a Thursday, you get your one spotlight game. Then don't do it again until Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, listen.
And I don't want to
Those
hear this.
Thursday games are ugly games, and the defenses usually play poorly because they're all beat up from Sunday. I mean, really, Thursday night is a night for offenses really to pad their statistics. If you take a look, I guarantee you, if you take a look back at all the Thursday night games, I guarantee you that everybody's defense plays worse on Thursday night.
They
than,
do.
Than
The
they,
game goes
than they
over.
do.
The Thursday night game goes over.
The majority of the time,
80% of the time.
Yeah, I
think
mean,
it
I'm
is.
sure if you're a bettor and you're betting the over on Thursday night, you're going to win most of the time.
But, you start a game at 7:10. You get some East Coast teams playing. It's fine. Everybody's going to watch. It starts
Right.
earlier than 8 o'clock. You're at happy hour for an hour and a half.
Yeah, and then you put a
Either-
really good
either
West
s-
Coast,
you
and you
stay
put a good
there,
West
either
Coast
you
team
go
on.
home and watch the rest of the game, and then you have a West Coast game. And if you're going to sit there and tell me you don't want to do it because you don't think the East Coast people are going to stay up that late and watch the second half of the Monday Night Football doubleheader, you're out of your freaking mind. You could put an NFL game on at 4:30 in the morning on a Tuesday,
I agree
and
with
people would it would be the number one show,
you. It would
maybe
be.
of the whole week.
It would be.
So I don't want to hear that. Everyone's sick of these Thursday games. It's stupid.
Yeah, no,
It's stupid.
I mean, they do it
Sometimes
to
you get-
saturate the market.
Sometimes you get a decent college game on Thursday night. That's perfectly fine. And then you get college football Saturday.
Yeah, but the kids when they play college, usually they don't play Saturday and then Thursday the following week. Usually, don't they get a week off?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Sometimes, but sometimes these the non-Ohio states of the world, they got to play on Thursday night.
Yeah,
maybe
that's
have
true.
a short week so their program gets some exposure. Let them have Thursday.
Well, yeah,
Let them have
yeah.
Thursday. Put a game on Friday night for
Well-
college if you want to saturate the market. If you're ESPN, I'm talking about if you're ESPN trying to
but all the high
get
school,
ratings.
but all the high school teams play Friday.
Football games.
But a lot of
high school games aren't on TV.
no, they're not. But all I'm saying is a lot of the kids that watch the games are playing on Friday night, and the parents, are and the kids and and the high school fans, they're all watching their high school teams play on Friday night. So that Friday night is just I don't think that's a great night for it. I understand where you're going with that. I just don't think Friday night is necessarily
Sunday
great for that.
and Monday with
Sunday
the
and
opener,
Monday are great.
Sunday and
nights.
Monday for the NFL. You mix in maybe I don't know. Maybe if you want to have like say Halloween's on a Thursday, on October 31st. You have a Halloween special on Thursday.
Okay.
That's fine. Every once in a while,
yes.
and then make sure the team, either the team's coming off a bye.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point. I mean, it's
Make sure the team's coming. That's how it would work. Make sure the team's coming off a bye, so they're not on short rest and you're getting guys hurt, because they want to make up all these bogus rules about how you can hit a guy, how you can't hit a guy, worrying about player safety and CTE and the $9 trillion concussion lawsuit. But then you're making guys play the most physically grueling sport on the planet with 3 days rest. It just doesn't. It's just hypocritical.
Really,
There's no rhyme or reason.
it's not a healthy thing to do.
Well, because they make a lot of money, but
Yeah,
they
oh,
want
I
to
know.
they want to make them look like they're high and mighty for having all these rules in place, so the guys don't get hurt.
But they still get
Well,
hurt.
guess what? No one knows how to tackle anybody.
No.
You can't tackle anyone. A few of those calls yesterday. I mean, I'm sorry. When a quarterback is extending the play with his feet, either rolling out or running, he should be treated as a runner. He's the same as a running back. He's the same as a receiver.
Oh yeah,
He
should
shouldn't
be able to.
That's not how it's called.
Yeah, no.
If
they
you
should
tackle,
be, once they leave the pocket and they're starting to run, okay, unless they're giving themselves up, they are.
and you're not giving yourself up if you're diving head first. You got to slide
No,
feet first.
right. If you are not giving yourself up, you should be fair game to be walloped. I mean, that's football.
But that's not the era that we're playing in.
No,
That's just
and,
not
and
the
you know
era.
something. It's really it's ridiculous, and I mean I just don't get that.
And then
at
you
all.
have this new caveat where a player can be ejected for a hit at the referee's discretion.
Well, I think we had one of those yesterday.
Right. And I
Cincinnati game.
didn't like the decision to eject that guy. What was it? I think his name's George Williams. He starts at strong safety for the Bucks. Got ejected for his hit on Andrew Luck. Was it a penalty? Absolutely. He shouldn't have led with his head like that. But at the same time, Andrew Luck is running for a first down,
Yep.
diving head first. How is that defender supposed to know that Andrew Luck's just going to be a reckless maniac and dive head first like that? So you want to give him a 15-yard penalty, that's fine. I can deal with that. But for that guy to be ejected and probably get a hefty fine when he's not a premier player and doesn't make a lot of money, I think it was uncalled for. And then you have these rules. Oh, it's at the referee's discretion.
Well,
Well,
I'll tell you what.
every referee is going to have a different criteria
There
on
was
what
a-
causes an ejection,
There was a
causing even
face
more
mask.
confusion for the players.
There was a face mask yesterday in the Giant game. Where somebody almost tore Saquon Barkley's head off.
I saw that. Yes,
That should have been an
Darren
ejection.
Sproles.
That should have been an ejection. That's ridiculous. He could have.
That's a little heavy.
He could have broken the guy's neck.
He could have, yes.
That
but
was
but
ridiculous.
if you watch the replay, he was trying to get his hand out, and it wasn't inadvertent. The scumbag who almost ripped Darren Sproles' head off in the Eagles-Falcons game, he literally almost ripped Darren Sproles' head off. And he just took the face mask and tried to, pretty much blatantly tried to spin Darren Sproles' head around while it was still attached to his shoulders. It's so bad. But I agree with your point that how is that worse than doing helmet to helmet? You break somebody's neck.
Well, yeah, that's my hope. I mean, listen. I mean, you and I can agree to disagree about the one with Saquon Barkley. That looked bad. It looked like he was getting his head ripped off on that play, and I think as a Giant fan, I think everybody in that stadium and all of us watching were like, "Oh my God!" when we saw that play, because luckily he's a young guy. Of course, he gets right up and he's fine. But jeez, I mean that was really an ugly play, and those are the kind of plays the NFL really needs to be worried about, because those plays that can end a guy's career if you twist that helmet the wrong way.
James Shafal, dumb as hell. He's getting back to the Cowboys. Dumb as hell to release Dez and lose Witten in the same year. I believe Jason Witten's going to be on the call. He's on the Monday Night Football crew now. He took Gruden's place, right?
Didn't Jason Witten retire though?
He retired. Yes.
Yes, they didn't release him.
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. I mean,
But now you make the you got to replace both
Yeah.
of them in the same offseason,
Well, yeah.
which I don't think they were prepared to do.
Well, Jerry Jones, 25 years ago when there was no salary cap and he could just outspend the rest of the league,
That's how he won his Super Bowls
that's how
in
he
the
won
90s.
all his Super Bowls, okay? He can't outspend the rest of the league now. He has to play by the same rules. And you know what? His drafting is pathetic because the Dallas Cowboys right now have been getting worse and worse and worse.
James Wilder agrees with me on the Andrew Luck play. Penalty, not an ejection. Nice to see you're starting to make sense up there in Canada, James. Hopefully you did well on your A2D West Division, the B League.
The B League.
The B League. The one that Frank's in. Frank, there's a lot of pressure on you to win this B League.
You mean the A? You mean
He's in the East. Wilder.
Rob, you mean the AL Central?
He's in our
He
part
is.
of it.
Yep.
I wonder if he won.
Are you talking about the AL Central?
Yeah, over there.
Well, right
The
now.
Sports Hounds are cooking, by the way. Even without our second overall pick, Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
We were able to get the win.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon, AJ Green coming through big.
And Joe Mixon, I got to give you credit for him. He
Let's
was the one
see.
guy I questioned you about, and did he have a nice game yesterday.
He does everything, and I don't want to. Gio Bernard is not good.
He's okay as a second.
No, he should
string,
not be
third
getting.
string.
He should not be. The only way he should be in the game is A, if Joe Mixon's hurt, which I hope doesn't happen because I have him on a lot of my fantasy football teams, or if he is
Listen,
tired to the extent where he needs a water break and can't breathe.
Listen, if he carries the ball 3 or 4 times a game, you can't really complain. I mean, that's kind of what should happen.
No, because that's 3 or 4 less carries my boy Joe Mixon doesn't have to take it to the house and get me points.
Okay, well, okay.
No carries
As long
for
as you put
Giovanni
it-
Bernard. None.
Okay. All right. Well,
Well, is that his third pick of the half?
did he throw another pick?
No, he was out of bounds.
He's out of bounds.
But yeah,
Boy.
the
Jeez.
Sports
Darnold's
Hounds,
having-
the Sports Hounds quarterback is not Matthew Stafford is not off to a.
He's off to a rather auspicious debut.
That's all right. He'll get his stats. No, he's out of bounds. Ooh, you might want to challenge that.
Boy, oh boy.
But yeah,
oh
going
boy.
to the league, I know the second Monday Night Football game is going to be up. I have Brandon Cooks
Let's
waiting to
see.
play. My
I don't know.
opponent, Mr. Mike Parker of Salisbury, North Carolina, has Robert Woods in that
What's
game
the
as well.
score? What do you got?
I am currently up 18 with the score of 108.1 to 90.1. And going into this game against the Raiders, I think Goff's going to be spreading the wealth a little bit with who he's going to pass to.
Yeah,
so.
don't forget they have a premier running back.
Yeah.
As well,
Yeah,
so.
the
A lot of mouths to feed on that Rams offense.
Oh, yeah.
that Ram,
Yeah, there's going to be
that
a lot
Ram
of
team
love
is-
being spread.
Yeah,
that Ram team is going to be a force to be reckoned with this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Sports Hounds destroyed Team ACL Repair Company, Joe McClelland.
Yeah.
We're up 89-55. Stafford's playing now. We have Amari Cooper playing as well.
Well, the way Stafford's playing right now, though.
Tom Arnone with a win. Beat Ralphie.
Yeah.
Beat Ralphie pretty good. Ryan Brodo completely shit on the entire league. 165.6, so the high score by a mile.
Jeez.
Who did he have on his team that?
I was looking at it earlier. He had Mike Evans, I think.
Yeah.
Rivers did good. Melvin Gordon went off. Tyreek Hill and Evans. Delaney Walker had a decent game, but he's now out for the season.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
Alex Collins got a touchdown. Good team.
Okay.
He's a good team, Mr. Brodo. He beat A2D Canada. Doug Reed Peterson.
Yes.
Definitely the best team name in our division.
I just named my team after Ben McAdoo, so just so to demoralize opponents when I win, it's like you lost to Ben McAdoo.
Looks like
Do you know what I've been calling Aaron Boone all season?
Yeah,
Macaboon.
McAdoo.
He may be the dumbest manager.
What is
in
he
Major
doing
League
right now,
Baseball.
Ben McAdoo?
he's doing nothing.
Nothing.
He does
Yeah.
interviews and tells everyone how bad
Yeah,
they
what,
are
is he
and how
giving-
they're
is
not
he-
going to do good when he was the worst coach in Giants' recent memory.
Was he giving
He
like
was
one-word
awful.
interviews by just
was
going,
terrible.
just one word and
Yeah,
and,
the
and,
Eagles
hair
won't-
his
Well, that's pretty much how
eating
his,
donuts, whatever he likes to do at
That's
the Giants
pretty much
facilities.
what how he handled his interviews before. So
Yeah,
why should
And-
anything be any different?
Looks like Greg Milikovic's going to edge out Mataraki in the last matchup in this. But sports hounds are 1-0.
There you
Le'Veon
go.
Bell, please show up.
please,
Please show up.
Yeah.
Go to practice.
I agree. Come
sign
on,
the
Le'Veon.
We're gonna need
tender.
you. Steelers play the Chiefs next week.
Yeah, I mean, come
That's
on.
going to be a
Le'Veon.
tough matchup.
Be a nice. They are back at home.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
The
the
Steelers-
Steelers. Boy, the Steelers.
Oh, it'd be nice to have
0-2.
Le'Veon Bell in a premier matchup like that.
Oh,
Please, Le'Veon Bell, show up.
I mean, could the Steelers possibly be 0-2?
Well, they're
Oh no,
well,
0-1 and
well,
1.
they're
0-1 and 1. Yeah,
1-1.
yeah, but they. I mean,
Jeez.
if New England wins and they're 2-0 already, then home field's going through New England again.
I think the home field's going to go through New England anyway. The East is
yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
the
it's
East is
terrible.
dog crap.
stinks.
Yeah, they
And
the
by
East
the
is
way,
pathetic.
I am 100% on Le'Veon Bell's side here.
Oh yeah,
If I were
you got to
him-
pay him. He
Yeah,
deserves
I
to
were-
get the
I agree.
money.
If I were him, now should he not have turned down that 4-year, $70 million deal? I think he got bad advice there. I don't think he's going to be able to do much better than that.
Yeah,
But I 100% support him not playing football until he gets a contract that he's happy with. Because these teams, they make these contracts, and they're not worth the paper they're written on.
right.
No,
They
I
get the
agree.
guarantee, they release them. And then, especially with running backs.
I mean,
and
Rob,
then-
the Giants went. The Giants went. You know what? The Giants went and signed Odell. And he has another year. He only
He
had
has-
1 year left. The
do
Giants
these
went
guys
and did
have?
what they had to do.
especially running backs. What does he have, 3 to 5 years? I mean, if he gets one
Yeah.
contract extension, he'll be lucky if he gets another one. This is his payday.
Yeah.
So I am 100% in favor of him not playing it down for the Pittsburgh Steelers until he gets a contract that he's happy with. But the same with Earl Thomas out in Seattle. Now, Earl Thomas decided he wanted to show up and play and be with his teammates. That's all fine. But financially and from a business perspective, that was a dumb move by Earl Thomas.
You're taking a big chance.
He's taking a huge chance. I
Taking a
wouldn't have
big
played
risk.
if I were him.
I wouldn't either, and I don't blame Le'Veon Bell either. I mean, you know, if he goes out there, he gets hurt this year, in his walk year, then you know what? His future is done.
And it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if the Steelers decided to trade him. Because if you can get 2 first-round picks for a running back, I think that's pretty good.
You think you can get 2 first-round picks for him though, as a running
At least
back?
a first and a second.
Yeah.
One first at minimum. No.
Yeah. No. I agree with 1 first. I
I mean,
I
he's
just
a
don't know
top
about
3
2
running
firsts.
back.
Yeah.
You could make the argument he is the top running back. You can definitely make that argument. I mean, the guy, not only is the guy a great runner, but I mean, he's a great receiver
Yeah.
too.
But
What did
I
he
mean,
catch,
Great
85
workhorse
passes?
player.
you
What
look
did he
at
do?
you look at some
catch
teams.
85 passes last
Yeah.
year.
But you look at some teams that could really
Could
probably have
get
the-
him. Yeah.
It's probably got to be a team that still has a rookie quarterback
Or-
under the rookie contract.
Or
How about
or
the
an, or,
Jets?
or an
How
un-
about the Jets?
or an unsure running back core. I mean,
How about the Jets?
well, you can't trade for him and not pay him. Is my
Yeah.
point. So you
yeah,
need
trade and pay would be.
How about the Houston Texans?
Ooh.
The
Can
Jets?
they-
Ooh.
can-
Jets?
Can they? Yeah, the Texans.
Ooh.
can't
I don't
afford
know.
it.
I don't know
The
cap
Texans. The
I'm just
Texans would be
thinking-
scary.
I'm just thinking it would have to be a team with a quarterback still under their rookie contract.
Yeah. So
which
yeah.
which the Texans,
and the Jets.
How about Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
fits because
It fits.
they haven't extended Jameis yet,
They have not extended
No.
Jameis yet, which
and I think the Eagles are going to destroy the Bucs on Sunday.
Yeah.
But if Ryan Fitzmagic cultivates his magic once again and beats the Eagles, I'm not giving Jameis
That would
Winston his
be-
job back.
That
Yeah.
would be a miracle.
it's probably going to be end of the line for
I don't know
Jameis.
if
I do think though. I think Tampa Bay is gonna go out there and
They'll
play,
make some
play a
moves.
good game. They're not gonna get smoked. I don't think they're gonna.
They're
going to
get
Eagles.
24-0.
Nah,
24-0.
I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be that
No.
bad.
But I mean, I don't know what Seattle's cap situation is. I know they've already paid Russell Wilson as they should have.
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell would fit well there.
Depending on how
Seattle
Rashad
played
Penny's
pretty
gonna
well
be.
yesterday.
Yeah. Seattle held their own.
Yeah, but I mean that poor. I thought
The O-line still needs a lot of
I
work.
thought Von Miller was going to break Russell Wilson in half. I mean, that poor guy. He was running around. No one's blocking. Doug Baldwin's hurt. He's a complete tear of his MCL,
Yeah.
according to reports.
That was,
and
that
actually,
was an ugly
and it's actually
injury.
a different knee than he hurt in the preseason. So
Yeah.
now he's got 2 bad knees.
Case Keenum looked pretty good,
I
too.
told you. Case Keenum. He's a good player. He's a good player. Royce Freeman's a good running back. Emmanuel Sanders, he was hitting him up left and right. Demarius
he had a
Thomas
solid
had an unbelievable touchdown catch. The Denver's for real, folks. I got him winning the West. A lot of people made fun of me about it on Facebook.
I still think
We'll
I
see
still
how-
think Andy's club is going to be the team that wins the West, but
Maybe.
it's going to go right down to the end with those 2 teams, though. I could definitely see that.
But you look at because I'm 100%.
I think you
in
can make the
favor.
argument that Case Keenum has better
The
receivers
Steelers
now.
got to either start working the phones or pay this man
Yeah.
in terms of Le'Veon Bell. And I wouldn't show up anywhere to play football from Le'Veon Bell if I don't get a contract that I like. So the 3 teams, the Houston, I'd be making that call if I'm the Houston Texans. I'm making the call if I'm the Jets. The Niners, they just paid Jimmy G, so I don't know if they'll have the money to extend him or not. But, I mean, with McKinnon going down, I mean, they're pretty one-dimensional. They proved they're pretty one-dimensional against the Vikings. Good defense, but
Yeah.
I mean, it would have to
who
be.
did we say?
But
the,
as you
the
said,
Jets,
it would have
the
to be.
Texans, the Seahawks,
It would have
the
to be a
Bucks,
team. It would have to be a team
the
that
Niners.
Yeah, it would have to be
Ooh.
a team with a quarterback who hasn't been who's still on their rookie contract.
Not necessarily, because not every team's like Oakland.
Yeah, that's true.
Some GMs are aggressive and want the best talent, and they'll figure out the money later, which is how I would be if I were a GM.
I understand.
I'm just waiting for the ridiculous rumors. It's like, oh, let's get Le'Veon to the Eagles. He's not going to be in an Eagles uniform.
Well, why?
I just don't know. Especially with the cap situation that we're
What do
in.
you
You
mean?
got a lot of guys that you're going to have to pay.
Yeah.
Well, the Eagles the Eagles still have their quarterback under a rookie contract. They
This is
fit the
true.
mold.
That
They-
is
they
true.
do. They do, but they're paying a
And
lot.
Jay Ajayi won't be back.
I mean, that's basically going to be the big story in the offseason is like, who are you going to re-sign? Are you
Why
going to sign
not?
Ajayi or are you going to re-sign Ronald Darby? He's off of his rookie deal as well.
Well, I mean, I don't think either of them will be back. I mean, we'll worry about this in the offseason.
Yeah, well,
but,
yeah, it's way too early in the season to even
but
think about it.
Why
but
is that far-fetched that the Eagles could make a play for Le'Veon Bell?
I just
You
don't
front
know.
load the contract, and then when
Yeah.
it's time to pay Carson,
I
I
don't
know.
know.
I know
I
Carson's
mean,
going
they
to
would
get
have
his
to-
money, but having any deal with Carson on how he is, I know he's going to take a lot less money. So if he,
I don't know if he's going to be taking that much less, maybe a little bit less.
yeah,
He's going to get paid.
he's going to get paid.
He's going to get paid.
Well, he's got to
gonna-
play first before he
Yeah.
gets paid anything.
But I mean, you could expect probably about 140 million
Right.
in the area.
I mean,
of
had,
yeah,
had he
6
stayed
to 7
healthy,
He'll
6
be-
to 7 years, 140 million.
He'll be the highest paid player in NFL history when he signs. Assuming
pretty
he
much,
co-
assuming he
assuming
stays
he
healthy.
comes back
that's-
and he comes
performs,
back fine
yeah.
from the
If he
knee.
stays healthy,
He's going to be the
he's
next
got-
highest paid
Oh,
player
yeah.
in the NFL.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
I mean, he
Deion-
has the moldings of the $200 million man,
mean-
Carson Wentz.
You mean Dak Prescott isn't going to be that guy?
Dak Prescott stinks.
I'm sorry. That was
Deion Brown.
that was more like a jab. You know, I'm not
Yeah.
serious.
Deion Brown checks in. Doesn't think Tampa will sustain that great performance in Week 1, even with Winston. But it goes to show us, as of right now, that both teams can and will give up points on defense. Luckily for us, Alshon will be back by the time we have to face the Saints.
Any
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
any
not worried
given-
about the Saints.
any
I wasn't
given
worried about
Sunday.
I wasn't worried about the Saints game before yesterday, and nothing happened on Sunday to make me worry about the Saints game. They're gonna beat the Saints. They're gonna go down to New Orleans. They're gonna beat the Saints. It's gonna be a win.
Yeah, because
I'm
the
not-
Eagles.
It'll
the
be a
Eagles will
tough
score.
matchup, but
The
I
Eagles
mean,
will score.
The
we'll
Eagles
see
are-
what happens.
The
The
Eagles
Eagles
will
are
score
better.
a lot of points.
Yeah, the
against
Eagles
them.
are better. They are the better team,
The
but the
Eagles-
Saints figure out ways, especially when they play us. They figure out a way to win. So
They didn't figure out anything. Much
they
of
did not
anything
figure out
yesterday.
anything
Well,
against the
they
Bucks.
couldn't figure out Fitz
surprisingly.
yesterday. I mean,
But
It's still- it's-
I'm
I
not
still-
worried about. I'm not worried
it's-
about this Tampa game
Yeah,
at all.
I'm
Next
not
week.
worried. I'm not worried about
24
Tampa.
24-0 Eagles next week. Shutout. Fitzpatrick looks like a backup. Not worried about it at all. Jai will get 100 yards again. Foles will look fine. And then maybe you have Wentz in week 3 against the Colts,
Which will be nice.
which would be is extremely
Yeah.
nice.
A very lowly Colts team.
Yeah,
It'll
defense.
be very.
The only thing I can say is I just hope that the Eagles don't hurt Luck.
Yeah.
Because with that
They
with that
might-
offensive with
They
that
might hurt
offensive
Fitzpatrick
line
next week.
Yeah.
with that offensive line that the Colts have, that offensive line is probably worse than the Giants' offensive
Oh
line.
yeah.
I mean, I just shudder to see when the Colts have to play. The Colts play the Jaguars twice
Man,
and the Texans twice.
that's gonna be scary.
You think?
Yeah.
I was watching some of I had Red Zone dialed in yesterday all day. And I'm watching the Texans defense play, and Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, is all over the place. Why is he being released by the Arizona Cardinals? And why wasn't 31 teams lining up to sign him? That guy's a stud.
Oh yeah.
There must be something that
Because
he
he
does
got
that-
injured last year? I mean, guys get injured sometimes. Sometimes they miss games.
Yeah,
No one's perfect. I mean, I don't know. I would have been – if I was an NFL GM and I saw him, a player of his caliber on the market, I would be salivating
Oh,
to get
yeah.
him in my building. And
Love to get the Honey Badger.
there really wasn't a big demand for him when he was released. Yeah, a couple teams checked in on him, but I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand how some guys get released and everyone thinks they're done, and it
I'm
turns out they're
surprised the
not.
Giants didn't try to get him. I mean,
Why not? The
they-
Eagles can try and get him.
But
Yeah.
Betcher was with the Cardinals. He knows the Cardinals, inside and out. I mean,
know who else looked spry yesterday? Speaking of the Cardinals, former Cardinal, played the Cardinals yesterday. Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson had a nice game yesterday.
He looked well. He looked quick. He looked physical.
Yeah, well,
Other than
maybe,
that
maybe
late
the fact
fumble,
that the last
but
couple,
yeah. He was
basically
great.
he
Hasn't he
hasn't.
always had an issue with that though?
Yeah,
A guy puts it on the ground.
yeah.
But whatever.
But you know what though? He hasn't carried the ball all that much the last couple of years. Maybe his body has healed up a little bit, and maybe he's gonna have a decent year this
He
year.
was hitting holes quick and running fast. Maybe the Redskins won't be last place like
Maybe the Redskins won't be as bad as you think. I don't know. It's hard
Maybe.
to say. The Cardinals are not a good team. I mean, I think they're abysmal.
Yeah, they're going to be a bottom 5 team.
They're
the
going to be
Cardinals.
they're going to be like 4-12, 3-13. Top of the I think the top of the food chain for them is 5-11. I think they're going to be a bad football team.
Oh yeah.
I think the worst football team so far that I think we've all seen right now has got to be Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
they're horrible.
Yeah, Buffalo's on their way to 2-14, 1-15 this year.
Wonder who they play next week. I'll have to look it up when we take a break.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's the Dolphins or something.
Yeah.
B-
Some
BS
unwatchable game.
Maybe the
BS team like that.
Maybe the Jets.
The Jet Darnold's slinging right now.
Darnold. Well,
Darnold's look good.
oh, I know. And boy, I'll tell you what. If Darnold starts the year off and looks real good, and the Giants go into the tank, how much crap do you think the Giant fans are going to hear from the Jet fans about? Oh, you picked the running back and we picked the quarterback. And maybe rightfully so. I mean, just saying. I mean, listen, Saquon had a nice run.
You make choices.
Yeah, you make choices and you have to live with them. I mean,
You got the guy
you
from
got a guy who's
Richmond. I
gonna
always
be-
forget his name. You took him later on in the
Loletta.
draft, Loletta. Looks like your
But Sam
Shermer,
Darnold looks
Shermer
like a-
likes him.
Sam
Darnold looks
pretty good.
But
One half of football, though.
but
and-
Barkley didn't exactly go out there and stink up the joint against a premier defense.
No, and he did break one, and that was his first.
I mean,
That was also his first game, and I thought he was a little. I thought he was a little tentative
and
back there.
the Eagles won the Super Bowl last year with not a franchise quarterback suiting up for them.
When they won in the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
They won in the playoffs. Yeah,
but
they
there
had.
have been, but there have been
He
teams.
played well,
there have been
but
teams-
the supporting cast was
There have been teams that have won the Super Bowl that didn't have what you call great quarterbacks. Lots of teams. I mean,
Flacco won a Super Bowl.
so did. Listen, so did Doug Williams.
Your
He
boy
wasn't exact-
Kaepernick got to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, my boy, Kaepernick got to a Super Bowl. I mean, who was it that was on the
Brad Johnson won a
Brad Johnson, Trent Dilfer. Yeah, I mean, there have been some. Rex Grossman got to a Super Bowl. I mean, there have been.
I mean, Hostetler was a backup.
Yeah,
One-
I mean, he was
Phil Simms got hurt for your boys there.
Hostetler was actually an okay quarterback.
I mean, Joe Theismann, he was never any great. He was okay.
He was pretty good. He was pretty
He was
good.
okay.
Yeah,
But I'm just saying.
Joe Theismann also had a lot of help.
But people want
he had
to
some-
bang the narrative.
Didn't
you know,
they-
you got to have
didn't
Aaron
he
Rodgers,
have-
you got to have Tom Brady.
But didn't he have more Art Monk and John Riggins on his team?
Right. The supporting cast picked them up.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
Which maybe in
doesn't-
3 years
that
when
doesn't hurt.
Loletta's starting, or maybe someone else will be starting. Who knows?
well,
Anyway,
at some point,
we got to take a break.
yeah, at some point they'll
We're
they'll
talking.
assess that.
Take a little break. I'll give my thoughts on Nike and their new marketing campaign,
and
and we'll
Serena Williams.
and we'll talk about.
I want to talk about her.
You want to talk about tennis? We'll talk about it all after the break. A2D Radio Sports Hounds. Be right back.
Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
A2D Radio, Sports Hounds are back. Brad Ryer on these new comfy chairs. Frank, you don't get a new chair as a producer?
I don't even know.
You get the same old chair.
Yeah,
nice
the same
new
old
chairs here in the
spinny
Real
chair.
Talk Studios. Frank Vesby producing. Brad Ryer, my co-host. I'm Rob Brinkman. Lot going on. I do want to talk about Nike's new marketing campaign. First off, what a phenomenal commercial. The message of the commercial, the production value of the commercial, the message of the commercial were all fantastic. I don't understand how you pick Colin Kaepernick to be your main spokesperson, because right away you just alienate half your market. Either people are going to love it and load up on Nike, or are going to say, Nike's stupid, I don't like this guy, I'm never buying Nike again. $4 billion in the hole they went, Brad.
Yep.
$4 billion. But how does putting Colin Kaepernick as the face of your company, how does that make it off the cutting room floor of your
I have no idea.
brainstorming meeting?
I have
Like,
no
what are
idea
you
who would
doing?
even think of that.
All politics aside, I don't care what type of politics you are. You might love Colin Kaepernick. You might hate him. I'm not the biggest fan of him. Brad, I know you're not a big fan of him.
No, I think
But
he should.
politics aside,
I think he should
you
just
can't
go away.
you can't just segment your market like that. I mean, $4 billion in the hole. But
Yeah.
hey, what do I know? I'm just Rob Brinkman, and I do a show every Monday on A2D Radio. I'm not in the
Yeah,
Nike.
I don't.
I'm not in the Nike
We're not
marketing.
in the board. We're not in the
marketing
boardroom,
meetings,
and
but,
we're not stockholders.
I mean, what a poor business decision by Nike. Politics aside, you can't just segment half your potential customers like that. You just cut them right in half.
Well, I think their thought is that the U.S. is only like 49% of their total sales, so maybe they just don't give a crap. I don't know. I mean, their demographic. I get that their demographic. They're trying to please some of their demographic, but what they've basically done is somebody like me. I'm not going to buy Nike anymore.
Okay, well,
I'll buy New Balance shoes now.
Again, this is a sports show. It's not really a
So-
political show, but I mean,
No,
yeah,
I get it.
49% of their customers are only in the U.S. At least 50% for the world. But I mean, say what you want about America, but there's countries that are a lot more racist out there than America.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So just a poor business decision by Mikey. Politics aside, just a poor business decision to have someone that poor. Because if you have LeBron James, and I know they were in the commercial, if you have LeBron James or Serena Williams or Odell Beckham spouting that message, that's like a top 3 commercial of all time in terms of sending a message
But
and
nobody
and
likes
the
that guy.
contents of the commercial.
There's too many people who don't like that
Right.
guy.
It's like,
It's like it would be like Trump sending a message like that. Too many people don't like him.
and no one would hire him to be the spokesperson of anything.
No, definitely not.
It was just a stupid decision. Brad, I know you're a big tennis guy. Novak Djokovic.
I got something.
The
No,
first ever
no
tennis
back.
reference on A2D Radio. Congratulations,
I
Brad.
talk about golf. I talk about golf, and he doesn't like
I
it.
just
So we
wanna-
can talk about
I
tennis.
just
And I
wanna
like
make-
tennis.
I want to make a comment about Serena Williams.
How
okay?
she freaked out. And
Serena Williams is a big, fat baby.
she did act like a baby. at the
She
US
is
Open.
a spoiled little brat. She was getting her ass handed to her the other day.
and she cheated.
And she was cheating. And for her, and you know what? It's not the first time
I
that
shouldn't
she's
say she
pulled-
cheated because I don't think she's I don't
Oh
know.
no! Let me tell you something, okay? Coaches are not allowed to coach in tennis.
I know that.
Do you know why they're not allowed to coach?
No, I don't know why.
Because it is not fair for somebody who is ranked first in the world to be able to have the money to have a coach on the sideline when they're playing in the first couple of rounds people who are ranked 50th or 100th.
Is that really why
Yes.
the rule is in place?
Yes, because people who are ranked like 50th or 100th, they are there on their own dime,
I mean,
paying for everything, and they can't afford to have a coach.
me.
So they made the decision that you're not allowed to have coaching done. Period. And the bottom line
it's
is
as good a rule as any.
Serena
It's a fine
Williams
rule.
is full of crap. Okay, her coach was coaching her.
And it certainly
and
looked like that.
She got caught, and she's also getting her brains beat in. She's a poor loser.
But I mean,
She threatened to snap a ball boy's head in half because she got angry when she was losing one time. This is not the first time.
But she
Serena
lost. She got
Williams-
penalized a point
She got penalized a game.
for the coaching.
She got penalized a
She got
point
penalized.
for the coaching.
She got penalized a game
when
because
she
she
slammed-
freaked out and slammed
yeah,
her
well,
racket.
When she
But
slammed the racket.
if she didn't do that and just got penalized a point, that's not that big of a deal.
Had she not slammed her racket, she wouldn't have
Getting
lost
penalized
a
a game, that's
But you know
that's a
something?
big deal.
John McEnroe.
Is that
John McEnroe. It's not. And by
is
the
that
way,
fair though to say that getting penalized a point? Yeah, obviously it hurts a little bit,
When-
but that's not the end of the world.
when the
Getting penalized the whole
when the
game, that's a
referee-
big deal.
when the referee, first of all, it's automatic in tennis. If you argue with the referee and you throw your racket, you lose a game. That's automatic.
I'm not disputing the
Okay,
rules and
it's
whether
like
she broke
it's like in baseball. If a manager or if you argue a ball and a strike, you're gone. It's not it. When she did that, they automatically take a point. For her to go on and act like such a big baby, basically what she was doing was she couldn't stand the fact that she was getting her brains beat in, and she had to take that poor young girl's moment away from her because she was about to lose. Okay, so and Serena just has to always be in the spotlight. God forbid she actually loses a match, and then she has to act like that. She's a poor loser. She's entitled, and she's a big baby. And you know what? I hope she doesn't win that last Grand Slam to tie Margaret Court. You know, hopefully she
What's
won't.
the next Grand Slam in tennis?
Well, the U.S. Open was the last one for this year, so the next one is the Australian.
Australian.
In January. So that'll be her next chance. But you know what? Serena is starting to get old. And
Doesn't last forever.
no, it does not. Just ask Roger Federer. Okay? It doesn't last
Roger
forever.
Federer. Same with Nadal. I mean, Nadal looked.
And Djokovic.
Djokovic is still
Yeah.
in his prime. Djokovic,
Yeah.
Djokovic is a stud.
he had a
was
couple.
doing.
He had
was
a
doing-
couple of down years, but he had a couple of down years because he
Yeah.
had surgery on his shoulder.
Novak Djokovic, what he did at the U.S. Open, in the little bit that I watched of him,
He loves the U.S. Open.
it
he plays.
is unbelievable.
He raises his level of play there.
The gap between Djokovic and whoever you want to say is the second best
Well,
male
Nadal.
tennis player.
Well, Nadal can
looks
play with
old.
him.
Nadal looks old.
He
He
could
looked
still-
old at the U.S. Open.
He could still play with him, but not on that hard court.
He
though.
can't on clay.
On
On
clay,
clay,
yes.
maybe.
On
But
clay,
Rafael
yes.
Nadal looked old, and he couldn't even finish the match against Del Potro.
Yeah,
who
well,
looks like a-
but Del Potro is good.
Right,
You're not
he's
talking
ahead
about.
of-
He's not a slouch.
No, it's the semifinals of the U.S. Open. You're
I
going to
know,
be playing
I-
a good player.
No, I
Nadal
know.
didn't have the horses to keep up with a young guy like that.
Well, Nadal's getting old too. He's no spring chicken
Nadal,
either.
and then Djokovic.
Djokovic is
Djokovic
what,
beat-
28? I think he's like 28.
Yeah, but Djokovic beat Del Potro in the final.
Yeah, he smoked him.
As,
I mean, and he also he won. I believe he won. He won Wimbledon too, didn't he?
Djokovic, yes, yes, he
So
did.
I mean, he's won two in a row. I mean, again, he's
well,
not.
Federer just can't. He's not going to win anymore.
Federer's too old.
even though he's
I-
maybe the greatest of all time, but his time's over. And Nadal, I mean, he looks worn down and hurt right now. And
Nadal is.
how
not
about
the
that
same.
name, Juan Martín Del Potro?
Yeah, he's a good player, and he's been
He's
around.
got the best name in sports
and
for
he's
my
been-
money too.
He's been around a long time too. But you know, he's always been like the number 3, number 4 player in the world. He's never been Higher
And no
than
one
that.
even knows about him because Federer and Nadal and Djokovic
Exactly.
just have been
Exactly.
dominating the sport for so long.
You know, and listen, Roger. I think what's going to happen with Roger, I think you're going to see one more big run for him in one of these.
Is Federer the
tournaments.
greatest tennis player of all time? Male tennis player of all time?
He's up
Boy.
there.
He's up there, but I mean, you know, that's asking. As far as I'm concerned, I still feel Bjorn Borg is the greatest tennis player I ever saw. I
Jimmy
know
Connors,
Bjorn-
McEnroe's
yeah,
on
but
up there.
Bjorn Borg used to beat Jimmy Connors like a drum.
Oh yeah.
And John McEnroe didn't start beating Bjorn Borg till Bjorn Borg got old. I mean, Bjorn Borg used to beat the crap out of him too. I mean, listen, you had a lot of Pete Sampras. I think probably was right now still, in my opinion, is the greatest men's tennis player I've ever seen. But you know, between him, Borg, you can make the argument for Roger Federer.
Yeah.
I just think Pete Sampras in his prime was just too strong. You know, Pete Sampras hit the ball so hard. He overpowered a lot of guys. I mean, that was a lot of it. That was a lot of it with Pete Sampras. They just couldn't. They couldn't hit. Bjorn Borg was fast and just he never missed. He never missed, and he very rarely went to the net. He'd just sit back there and he'd hit everything back to you, and he would frustrate you. You know, and the only way really you could beat Bjorn Borg is if you had a great serve and you got to the net immediately and didn't let him get into a rally with you. Because if he got into a rally with you, his forehand and his backhand were both lethal, and he'd win every rally. There's no way you could beat him in a rally. You had to get to the net, which is why McEnroe, towards the end of his career, Borg's career, had success with him. But Connors never did, because Connors was never a great net player. Connors used to hammer in the back, too. Watching Connors against Borg is kind of like if you want to compare a fight, Foreman against Frazier. Okay? Frazier can't win it. Frazier couldn't beat Foreman because he couldn't win at his own game. And you can't expect Frazier to become a boxer. That's why he couldn't beat Foreman in either one of those fights. And the same applies for the same applies at that end too. And we have another Jet touchdown. I'll tell you what,
It's another pick. It's his
another
third pick of
for
the game for
Stafford.
Stafford.
Matthew
Wow.
Stafford is having a rough game, and the Jets now are up by 2 touchdowns. Tell you what, I did not see this coming. Boy, that was an ill-advised
That was a
pass.
horrible interception.
I
We
mean,
have the
it-
game on the Real Talk Studios here on the TV.
Yeah, I mean, we're just looking at that. It looked like Stafford kind of just saw the guy coming, and he just threw it away. And wow, I mean,
There's still time, and this looks like it's a good old-fashioned shootout halfway through the third quarter.
yeah,
here.
I mean, this game has 49-42 written all over it.
I had no feel for this game. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Well, how could you?
I had no
how could
idea.
you
You
with
got
a rookie
Darnold as a
quarterback?
rookie. Stafford's a veteran, but I mean, you got Patricia here. Is he going to be a real coach, or is he going to be like the other guys who came off the Belichick tree and
I don't
struggle?
know.
He still got the pencil in his ear, though.
Yeah, but you know
I
what?
do
Todd,
like that.
one thing about Todd Bowles, and
Todd Bowles, an
Todd
excellent
Bowles,
coach.
Todd Bowles defensively has always been a real good coach.
Oh, he's one of the Andy Reid.
Now that he
Anyone who
finally
coaches
has-
with Andy Reid and then gets a head coaching job, they have success.
Well,
The
it's like
Giants,
Parcell-
the
it's like the Parcells tree. All the guys that used
Well,
to
the
coach
Giants
for
have Shermer. He's off the Reid tree.
Sherm.
McDermott.
I think Sherman's going to be. I think Shermer's going to be okay.
Well,
I
he can't
hated.
be worse than the last guy.
No.
Anything's
He was bad.
better than Ben
McDermott.
McAdoo.
I mean,
I don't
McDermott.
like. I didn't like his play calling yesterday, but that's his first game, and he's going up
Yeah,
against
his
awfully tough-
first head coaching game in
McDermott-
like
That's what
I'm
years.
saying. So-
McDermott up in Buffalo is a good coach. He just doesn't have.
He's
he
just
doesn't
too
have the
stubborn.
horses.
Yeah, and he doesn't have the
He didn't have
horses
horses. He got no horse. He doesn't have players, Frank. What do you mean he's stubborn?
From what I was looking at on some forums and some Bills fans were saying that McDermott is a bit stubborn as a head coach in terms of
Oh, he learned
calling his
from-
plays.
I'll
He
tell you
learned,
what, he
he
may
learned
not-
from Andy Reid. What do you expect?
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. I think that he's in for a very bad,
Yeah,
annoying.
but I mean, that team could have Vince Lombardi as their coach.
Yeah, that is
and
gonna
they
be
would-
a
they would
very-
go 4-12.
yeah, that is going to be a long.
they just have a
long
brutal
season
roster.
for them.
I don't understand how you trade Tyrod Taylor. He leads you to the playoffs. All he did was lead you to the playoffs. And you trade him.
He wasn't that bad.
He's good.
Well, he's okay. I mean, listen, he's basically as far as the Browns are concerned.
Hey, his first game with the Browns, he tied. He didn't lose. So it's a step in the right direction for the Browns.
No, and he brought them back in the fourth quarter against that Pittsburgh defense in a driving rainstorm.
Oh, the weather was bad in a couple of games.
Yeah,
the weather was bad in New York. The weather was bad in Cleveland.
The weather was brutal
bad in Baltimore.
Yeah,
it wasn't good.
No, and those lightning storms in Miami.
Yeah, that was frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, what was it like in Cincinnati? Was it good?
Cincinnati was since the Colts. It was in Indianapolis.
Oh, it was in Indiana. Okay,
it was in a dome.
My bad.
All right, getting back to the YouTube comments, got a little off track here.
Right.
Living the dream. I don't know if you guys talked about this, but what are your thoughts on the Birds working out Brashard Perryman and Corey Coleman?
I like Brashard Perryman.
Brashard Perryman, he couldn't even make the Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? There is some untapped talent there, and you know what? If he
was a former first-round pick, as was Corey Coleman. I don't Corey Coleman at all. I don't know if you guys watch Hard Knocks. Bob from Bucks County, he brought it up. He's running with the twos, and he goes into the coach's office
and complains about it.
Complains, well, if you're gonna not start me, then trade me. The
Yeah.
next day, he was traded.
He was traded,
traded for a 7th-round pick,
and
then
then
he couldn't even make the freaking Bills, who lost 47-3 yesterday.
Yeah.
So I'm out on Corey Coleman.
Well, as far as Perryman is concerned, though,
Perryman, I think he could do something.
Did someone
with
get
him.
hurt, Frank, or are they just
talent.
happy with? Did someone get hurt that I missed, or are they just unhappy with the production?
I think it's a little bit of both.
What's the worst you could do? You
what?
sign
We're
him to
just
the
gonna- we're
taxi
just-
squad and
We're
let
just
him
throwing
sit there?
We're just throwing Mike Wallace right on out after the first game.
No,
No, you can't
No.
do that. And
I
you're
mean, I
gonna-
get he-
just
he wasn't
just an
good,
extra
but
body for the
What did he
year.
get targeted 2 times and the one deep ball he ran, Nick Foles underthrew it by about 5 yards.
Yeah.
He was actually kind of open. If Nick Foles put it out where he could run under it, he might have had a touchdown there. But I don't know. I guess they're concerned because Mac Hollins is going to be out.
Yeah,
the
Mac
first
Hollins
8
is going to be out
games.
for a while.
But it's funny how
Though
now everyone wants a receiver when before Shelton Gibson was going to be the savior.
Yeah. Though I do like the pickup with Braxton Miller. I actually like that pickup because
They picked up Miller. I missed that.
yeah, they picked up Miller. He's on the practice squad. There's a good chance he is going to make it to the active roster. They did move some bodies around a little bit, but Miller, I believe, will make the squad.
So
that's
Gibson,
going to be fun.
So that you're telling me that they're out on Gibson and/or Wallace if they're working out these receivers and potentially having Braxton Miller on the active 53-man roster.
Is this a fumble? By the way, the Jet game
looks like one, but
the Jets. I think the Jets recovered the ball.
I mean, I guess if you want to bring Perryman in, former first-round pick, he's a big body. Corey Coleman, I have no interest in.
I don't want Coleman.
The name that was not worked out, who should get a look, he should get a look from someone, is Des Bryant.
Oh, I agree with you there.
He should be on a team. I'm not a fan of him, but he's a big body, and he's proven that he still has enough left in the tank to help somebody.
Are you going to tell me he's not good enough to be a 4th receiver on some team?
Even if you just brought him in the red zone.
Yeah,
and ran a fade to him. I mean, there's a bunch of teams that could use Des Bryant.
You give him the Plaxico Burress role.
The
Jaguars, the big body in the red zone. You could find in the end zone.
The Jaguars, the Niners, the Jets, the Seahawks,
New
the
England,
Eagles, the Patriots. All these teams could get better by signing Des Bryant.
I mean, there's
people don't want to. Maybe he doesn't want to play football. I don't know. He's a little bit of a different cat. But if you're going to sign a receiver, sign Dez.
Maybe there's too many people that think that he's a cancer in the locker room. I mean,
he is a cancer in the locker room. But at least the Eagles have enough.
The Eagles have enough character
enough character and leadership where
they'll tell him to shut up and you're right about that.
Bob Brinkman wants to know what McDermott and the Bills see in Peterman. I don't know. I don't get
a lot of interceptions.
I don't get it. You might as well just play Allen.
Yeah,
that guy's horrible.
I think they will.
That guy's horrible. Nathan Peterman is horrible. He gives you no chance to win. It's not even like Nick Foles where, if everything falls right, he could really have a good game. No. Nathan Peterman, you have 0% chance to start to win the
Nick
game
Foles also
before it even starts if Nathan Peterman just
he also
started
had one
quarterback.
great season where he had 37 touchdowns and like 2 interceptions.
Yeah, 27 and 2 with Chip.
Or 27 and 2. Yeah, I mean, at least there's a there's some kind of a history there for him. What does Peterman have? I mean,
Nothing. And then Bob also thinks the Eagles need to use 2 tight end sets and give Gibson a chance until Alshon returns. I mean, okay.
how long is Alshon out, by the way?
You know, they said a couple of games. He's not on the PUP list. He's probably not going to play this week, so I would look for him week 3 at the earliest.
Week 3 or week 4? Probably week 4.
I
would think. I would say that
they sure could use him. I mean, that's for sure.
I would
They
think
need
most
help
of
at
their guys-
receiver right now.
I would think most of the guys would be coming back by week 4 because that's when that's their first real test since the Atlanta game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Tampa is going to be a challenge at all. The Colts at home should be a win. At Tennessee could be a hard game, but they lost to Miami yesterday. Matthew Stafford's getting pummeled. He's
What
getting
is going
absolutely
on?
pummeled by this
What
Jets
is going
defense.
on with the New York Jets defense tonight?
They're playing well. They're well coached.
I
And
mean, Matthew Stafford just
Todd Bowles had his boys to play, and Matt Patricia does not.
Look at this this shot he took. Oh.
See, now they just
that was
how
a
is that not a
sandwich.
penalty? They just high load him.
Hey, that's a sandwich right there.
Look,
High low, yeah, you're right. Oh boy. Oh
so that's not a penalty.
no, that's a
You can tackle like
oh
that.
My God. And then,
I don't understand.
and then just
I don't understand what's a penalty and what's not. Where you
Right.
can tackle guys.
And Rob,
I don't know what a catch is.
if you take a,
I can't believe he threw that ball as good as he did. He actually
He looked
completed
like-
that
you know what?
pass.
To me, it looked like he got it in the ribs. He got hit in the ribs. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it looked like the ribs to me, or the collarbone. Oh boy, that does not look good. That does
It
not
doesn't look good. He's still on the ground.
Yeah, that's that.
If you're not able to watch the game, we'll try.
Yeah, that was a bad shot that he just took. So, we'll see about
Let's
that one.
see.
I mean, my goodness, man.
Oh,
that's
oh,
just the ribs, right? Didn't that look like the ribs? I don't think it's his knees.
But I don't understand.
oh.
That's not a penalty. The guy led with his helmet, hit him right in the sternum.
Yeah, that's
Saw hits like that called yesterday. I don't understand.
you know
I don't understand
Matthew
the new
Stafford,
helmet rule. I don't understand how
Matthew
you can
Stafford
tackle. I don't get it.
he's a tough guy, but boy, oh boy,
He's up and walking around.
He's walking it off, but boy, oh boy, did he take a hit.
He looked like he kind of got hit in the stomach. Maybe he got the wind knocked out of him.
Well,
Brad, let's get
he's
get a
out
little,
for one play.
Let's get a little baseball. Let's get a little baseball in.
Okay.
The Phillies are toast. They are absolutely done.
Technically, if you look at the numbers, they still have a shot. But they're 4.5 games out. Again, they can't win on the road.
They can't win at home either.
Again, the Mets and the Marlins just seem to have their number, especially on the road.
Jacob deGrom was scratched from his start yesterday because it was raining a little bit and they didn't want to get him hurt.
Well,
And
that's their
that's
their
right. But the
privilege.
Phillies still lost.
Yeah, I mean, and the Philly, and I'm sure if you're the Phillies, you're probably chomping at the bit that the Mets were bringing in all these clowns, and then the Phillies still couldn't hit them. And who pitched for them yesterday? Velasquez.
I don't know.
But it's just they're the back end of their pitching their rotation, the 3, 4, and 5 guys are just not getting the job done. And the only one that's hitting on the team right now is Hoskins. And what has happened to Odubel?
I mean,
Odubel Herrera.
Santana is like hitting over 300 over the last 2 weeks. He's sort of on fire,
all right.
but
What has happened to Herrera though?
nothing. And then Michael Franco just mysteriously gets completely benched out of nowhere, and now Santana plays third base.
I thought Cabrera played third.
No, what he's been doing lately is he's been putting Santana at third and Bohr at first.
Carlos Santana at third?
Yeah. He's never played
Has
third.
he ever played third in his career? I don't
No.
remember him ever. Look at this.
No.
Oh, the Jets are just putting down
Jets
a
are pouring
beat
it
down
on.
now.
Jets are pouring it on. 38-17.
Boy, you know what?
You know what? Good for them.
Yeah,
because they're the butt of the joke a lot in New York and around the NFL, and it looks like they got a quarterback, and their team
their
really
special
is
teams
really
are doing
playing,
a great job. Oh my!
Their team's really playing for Todd Bowles. So it's good for them. Hopefully they hold on and win this, and can get a 8-9 wins.
Did he step out of bounds here? I don't know
He
if
might have at the end there, like the 5-yard line, maybe. But
That's a heck of a return.
I mean, you
though,
look
boy.
at these baseball standings. Yeah, but Santana is at third. I don't understand why.
So Santana's at third. Who's at short? Kingery?
Kingery or Cabrera or someone.
And
Boer's at first.
Boer's at
Hoskins at
first.
left.
I mean, it's not like Boer is. It's not like Boer
He's
is
not that
tearing
good.
the cover.
He's not that good either.
Yeah, he's not tearing the cover off the ball either. So I just don't get it.
They're 4.5 out. Well, Atlanta deserves a lot of credit because they went out to Arizona, who I think is a really good team, and they took 3 of 4 out there.
After a complete beatdown against Boston, they came
We
back.
saw that coming.
Yeah, I mean,
And
that's where, in my opinion, the Phillies had a golden opportunity. They were playing 3 games against the Marlins, and the Braves were playing 3 games against the Red Sox. And you and I both said last week, in all probability, the Braves were going to get swept, and the Braves did get swept. And the fact that the Phillies were only able to gain 1 game from that is very bad news. And I mean, at this point, I think they're going to have to take a hard look in the off season about getting the rubber bands off the dollar bills and writing some checks, because they need hitting on this team, and they need a number 3 pitcher. I mean, you can't have 2
they need a
pitchers.
3, 4, and 5 pitcher.
Well, you know what? If you have a 3, you can always make do with a weak 4 and a 5. But you've got to have
And they have no
you gotta
bullpen.
have 3. No, who's their closer now? Nishak?
They do it by committee. Dominguez does it more times than not, but I've seen
Every time I
Nishak,
see
I've
him
seen
come
Adam
in-
Morgan close games.
Every time I
I've seen
see
Tommy Hunter
Dominguez,
close games.
every time I see Dominguez, he gets hammered.
It's true. And then you look at the wild card. The Diamondbacks have really fallen off.
Yeah, I mean, right now the wild card is between the Cardinals and the
Cardinals and the Brewers have it right now. The Dodgers are 1 back. I mean, the Diamondbacks are 3 back, and the Phillies are 4.5 back. I think it's narrowed down to them. I would say the Pirates at 7.5 back, Nationals at 8, Giants at 11.5 games back.
Well, I think those teams are, I think you could.
How about the Mets? The Mets are 7-3 in their last 10. They're out of the basement of the National League, Brad.
Well, one thing I will say about the Mets, their starting pitching is very good.
It is.
I mean, that's one thing that they do have, and lately, from what I've seen, Conforto, Todd Frazier, and Bruce have been hitting the ball. So and that guy Jeff McNeil at the top of the order seems to be hitting. So I mean, they're some of these guys are actually coming around and hitting and giving their team some support. We'll see what happens when DeGrom pitches, if they can give him support. I can't get over the fact that the guy has a 1.68 ERA, and he only has 8 or 9 wins. I mean, and generally speaking, when he pitches, I mean, last week you and I were joking about it, but when he was in there last week, the only run the Mets scored was on his RBI single.
Yeah, they won 1-0, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the game
they
they
did
won
win.
1-0.
Yeah, I mean, over and over and over again with him.
This fly is killing me here. It's
Yeah,
so
he's-
annoying.
Yeah, and he's quick as hell too. I couldn't catch him.
Can't get him.
Yeah, he's gonna live to see another day. So
Maybe the birds of a feather guys can kill him.
yeah,
Kill
well,
him
he's-
tomorrow.
yeah.
Wonder what they'll think about the receivers. If you're gonna sign a receiver, you sign Dez. Is that?
I know they'll be talking about it.
Well, you know what's gonna end up happening?
I don't care if you
If
just
the Eagles need a receiver, they'll give up like a 4th round pick, and they'll go find themselves a good receiver.
Oh, Howie. People
on
are
a
gonna stop
crappy
trading.
team.
People are gonna stop trading with Howie. He trade rapes everyone.
Well, you know what? If the guys you're trading aren't producing for you, what difference does it make if they do well on another team? If you can't get them to perform, then you got to close the book on it and not be a sore loser when it happens. I mean, am I wrong? It's just like Alshon Jeffrey. You know, Alshon Jeffrey was very good for the Bears for a while. Then, you know, he had a couple of off years. Goes to the Eagles and is great again. Well, you know what? That happens. You know, I mean, I'm just looking at. They're showing. They're showing some of these hits that Matthew Stafford's
he's been
taken
getting
tonight.
murdered all night.
Oh my goodness gracious!
And he came back in. Man, he's a tough.
He's a tough guy.
He's a tough. You know what?
He-
Because, I mean, he's been getting killed there for years.
Yeah, you know what?
And
I never knew the Jets had such a good pass
He
rush.
just
Is
threw
that
another
pick?
wow. And
What
that
is
was
that,
a horrible.
5?
That was a
Wow.
horrible throw.
What is
Was
that?
that
5?
Stafford or Castle?
Oh, that may have been Castle.
Stafford.
No, that's
That was Stafford.
Yeah, Stafford.
He might need to take a seat.
Yeah, what is that? 5 interceptions now? I mean, the Jets are probably going to end up taking. Oh God, the Jets are going to take what, a 45-17 lead if they get a touchdown. I would say game over at this point. I look at this. They're getting it. Well, that was, you know what? He had time that time. He just threw it. I don't know where he was throwing that ball. I mean, he had plenty of time. There were 3 guys standing there.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah,
He's just it's not a good start to the
shaking,
season for the
yeah,
Lions.
I think he's had his bell rung and he's just not. It's not going to work for him. If I was Matt Patricia, I'd be taking him out.
That's true. The Phillies were rained out tonight. For those still interested,
Still holding out hope.
they will play a doubleheader against the Washington Nationals tomorrow, Tuesday.
It is not over for the Phillies.
It's not.
Because they have 6 or 7 games against the Braves.
They have 4 in Atlanta and 3 here to start to end the season.
The only problem is that the Rockies are in there too.
Right.
In
They're
Colorado.
at Atlanta. They're at Colorado for 3. Then they're home to end the season.
So
Atlanta.
those 7 games are going to be.
But you got to trim this lead to like.
Well, you can't be
You
4
gotta
and a
trim-
half behind. That's
You got to
too far
trim it to
behind.
3 games or 2 games, and then hope you can win 5 or 7 of those games.
If they could sweep a
and
doubleheader,
not spit the bit.
if they could sweep a doubleheader tomorrow, then
Well, that'll
and
help.
Atlanta loses, then it's back down to 3 again. I mean, you know, a lot of things can still happen, but that team just seems to be going in the
But
wrong
Atlanta,
direction
it's
right
just
now.
disappointing because Atlanta is just as flawed as the Phillies.
Yeah, Atlanta. Other than
Their
other than
bullpen
their-
stinks.
other
They
than
have a
the re-
2-man rotation, just like Fultonowicz and Newcomb at the top.
right.
Past that, they don't really have. Their bullpen's terrible.
Their
I mean,
bullpen is probably
They got
worse than the
They
Phillies.
got the second coming of Ricky Henderson leading off for them. Ronald Acuna Jr., who's a stud. If he doesn't emerge like he does, I mean, it's
I mean, Albies is okay.
Albies is really.
Markakis
Albies had an excellent first half, but he's down to like a 270 hitter. He's really-
Markakis has had a ridiculous
Markakis has
season
had a
this year.
phenomenal season.
I mean,
But I mean,
he's been a shocker. I'm sure to a lot of people.
Hannibal Sanchez starts for them every 5th day.
Yeah,
I mean,
Hannibal Sanchez was washed up 5 years ago.
Freddie Freeman's an MVP candidate.
Freddie
Albies
Freeman
is
is a
falling
big
off.
time player.
Dansby Swanson is
He's
you know,
okay.
He's an okay shortstop.
Yeah, he's okay. He's average. You know, I mean, he's nothing more, nothing less.
So I mean, that's the part that gets me. If the Braves were a bomb squad and just didn't have flaws and were just by far the best team, I would have less of a problem with it. But this team can be had, and for the Phillies not to be able to capitalize, losing 2 of 3 to the Marlins.
Well,
2
I
of
mean,
3
the
to
Braves
Mets. It's
went
very
and lost.
frustrating.
They got swept by the Rockies a couple of weeks ago. They got
But
swept
at
by
least
the
they're
Rockies.
good.
But all I'm
The
saying
Mets
is
and the
they
Mets
have
and the
given them-
Marlins,
they have opened.
stink.
They have opened the door so many times. It's
And I think they're still going to continue to open the door because I don't think they're that good.
no. I mean, I agree with you.
They may be the best but the East is
It's
not a
great.
good it's
No,
not a good division.
not great.
but
Not great.
someone's got to win it, and it's disappointing that the Phillies can't.
The Cardinals, by the way, have come all the way back to tie the Pirates at 4.
Who would you favor? Let's assume the Rockies are going to win the West, like I predicted in the beginning of the season. So then you got the Brewers, the Cardinals, the Dodgers, and the Diamondbacks, and the Phillies for 2 spots.
Okay. Wait a minute. Let me pull up the standings again.
I mean, you got to think the Dodgers are going to get a spot. No?
You would think so, but I mean, really, after Kershaw, their rotation is pretty questionable. I mean, the Dodgers
the
right now.
Diamondbacks are 3-7 in their last 10. That's with taking 3 of 4. No, excuse me. They lost
just
3
lost
of
3
4
of 4 to
Atlanta. They're leaking water right now. I mean,
But they're only 2.5 games behind the Rockies.
they're three back in the wild card. I don't have the division standings up right
Yeah,
now.
and by the way, the Diamondbacks and Rockies right now, as we speak, are playing a crucial 4-game series in Colorado.
That is a crucial 4
So
game.
that's I mean, as far as that division is concerned, if the Rockies can do some serious damage, they can
that's a big series.
Yeah, they could just about
wild card and AL West.
Yeah, they can just about.
Who do you think's better, the Diamondbacks or the Rockies?
Yeah, I'd like to think that the Diamondbacks have better pitching, but the Diamondbacks bullpen has been brutal. I mean, Brad Boxberger yesterday
Terrible.
comes into a 5-4 lead and gives up 5 runs.
I mean,
in the ninth inning.
Archie Bradley was all world last year. He's looked human.
Yeah, I mean the Diamondbacks, as good as their starting pitching is, and
I almost got him.
Ah,
I almost got him.
yeah.
took a big
We'll
risk.
probably take a. There'll probably be like a
see
betting
that?
pool who takes out the fly.
I took a big risk there because it was on my keyboard.
Yeah.
But it went down to the place where there's no keys, so I figured I'd take
There
a
you
swipe
go.
at him. But back to baseball. But yeah, I mean the Rockies have an excellent lineup.
oh, their lineup is if you look at the lineups other than Goldschmidt and I guess Peralta is pretty good and Pollock is pretty good, but I mean other than that their lineup does not match up with the Rockies at all. The Rockies
have Blackman, LeMahieu, Arenado,
yeah, but those are 3
Cargo.
big time. Those are 3 big time.
Trevor
hitters.
Story's been
Trevor Story's had a great year. I mean, that's 4 really, really big hitters on their team.
Mhm.
I mean, and you know what? I don't know that Arizona's pitching while it might be better than Colorado's, is it good enough to be able to stop that offense? Because I know good pitching beats good hitting, but sometimes good pitching just can't stop the real good hitting. You know what I mean?
The Diamondbacks' starting rotation is far superior to that of the Rockies.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Ray,
Corbin, Greinke.
I mean, those are 3 big-time pitchers, but, if they can't get the Rockies out, then, and the Rocky pitchers
They can't get
still
anybody out in
stink.
their last 10, 3-7.
Yeah, the Rocky pitchers still stink, but you know what? There's somehow
Even the Phillies are 4-6 in their last 10, and Milwaukee's really playing good right now.
yeah, they still haven't been able to catch the Cubs.
No, but they're going to get the number 1. They're going to host the wild card game.
Yeah, it looks like it right now. And
They're
the
just
Yankees,
they're just going to hit
Yankees
their way.
Yankees may be playing in Oakland, by the way, with that wild card game. The way
They
things
might
are
be.
going. I mean, they have
They
6
might
games.
be,
They
but
have 6 games with Boston.
Sean
and 3 with the Reds.
Manaea is out for the year. The Yankees shouldn't have a problem whether they're on the road or not winning that game. And I still think the Yankees have a good a chance as anyone in the AL to win the World Series.
As long as Aaron Judge comes back. But we just don't. I mean, Aaron Judge he's taking batting practice now. He's supposed to be going on a rehab assignment Thursday, but says the wrist is still hurt. He says he's still hurting, but he can play with it. So, I don't know. I mean, right now, Giancarlo Stanton is 7 for his last 60.
Well, who's playing left field?
For the Yankees?
Yes.
If everybody's healthy, I'm guessing McCutcheon's going to play left, Hicks is going to play center, and Judge is going to play right, and Stanton's going to DH.
You might have to put Stanton in right field. If Judge's wrist is no good, he might be better served as the DH.
Left,
no,
if it's his left wrist.
Is that what he hurt? His left wrist.
Here's the thing, though, Rob. Stanton is. I mean, Judge is a way better fielder than Stanton.
I understand that,
and he's got a way better arm.
Understood. Judge might have the best arm in the whole league.
Yeah, but does he have the best arm when he's got a damaged wrist?
That's why
yeah,
Aaron
you're right.
Boone
You got a
makes
point.
more money than both of us combined.
Yeah, that's the whole point. I don't, at this point, I mean they're 11 games ahead of Seattle right now, so they're going to be in that
the
game.
5 playoff teams in the AL are
They're set.
it's just a matter of
set.
if Oakland's going to host a wild card game or the Yankees are.
Or Houston. If
Eh,
Oakland catches Houston.
well,
But
I mean, Houston is really.
Houston got robbed last night, too.
I mean,
I mean,
Houston.
they should've-
Houston is healthy. Bregman is out of his mind. Correa is back.
Altuve is back.
Altuve is back.
They beat up Boston this weekend.
I think that the Astros would beat the
And a short
Red
se-
Sox.
Well, I'll
in
tell
a-
you what, if the Red Sox don't have Chris Sale, and you got to really start wondering with Chris Sale. He hasn't
He
pitched.
does this every year down the stretch. He's just not the same. He runs out of steam
Yeah, but
every year.
and now he's injured.
And boy, everything just going missed a
I
field
think
goal.
the Lions just missed a field goal. Boy, oh boy, when it rains, it pours, doesn't it? And the Detroit
awful
faith,
start.
the Detroit Lion faithful giving their thumbs down.
41. I mean, jeez. I mean, this is a team that had legitimate playoff aspirations. Wouldn't be the biggest shocker in the world if the Lions made the playoffs last year. You got a 41 to the Jets and a rookie quarterback. Not a good start.
No,
Not a good start.
And a complete fiasco for one Matthew Stafford. Boy,
Yeah,
oh
he
boy.
got beat up tonight.
He what is going on with and the Jets supposedly their weakness on defense is they don't have a great pass rush.
Well,
Could have fooled me tonight. I mean, do you think it's the Jets pass rush and Todd Bowles coaching, or do you think the Lions offensive line is that bad?
it's probably a combination of both.
Yeah, I mean, boy, oh boy.
Right? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, right now watching the Lions look like the worst team in that division.
yeah.
I mean, the Bears last night, I know they lost to the Packers, and they still have a ways to go.
No, they look
but
like they belonged.
and
really, the Packers got
the Packers
really lucky, that Aaron Rodgers was able to return and be so effective with that because his leg was hurt.
Oh, yeah. They're also lucky at the fact that the Bears, as bear-like as it was when it was 20-17 at the end of the game, that the Bears couldn't knock the ball into the end zone and make it 27-17
Then
and
it's
put that
game
game
over.
away. When they got the field goal, it's like you almost knew that was going to happen. And look at this, another big play for the Jets and
Jeez,
another
oh,
touchdown.
man.
I mean, this is unbelievable. Rob, did you see the Jets scoring
Wow.
48 points
No,
in a game?
not at all.
Against anybody?
I said earlier I had no feel for this game or what was going to happen, but
I assumed Detroit was going to spank them, to be honest with you. I mean, I didn't know.
I don't think they're good enough to spank anybody. And I thought the Jets were going to be able to prove, but to let up a half 100 on Monday night. I mean, good God.
Yeah, Detroit, boy, they just look like they didn't. The Jets look like they came out.
I mean, this
ready
is
to
Bill.
play.
This is Bill like.
Yeah, this is
Buffalo Bill like. I mean, this is embarrassing.
Yeah, but I mean, but the fact that it's the Jets who, jeez, I mean, they're making their coaching staff and their GM, they all look like geniuses with their draft by getting Darnold and bringing who was that made that run? Was that Crowell?
Crowell, he's an average running back at best.
Who was released by Cleveland?
Oh, he's not really. He's a free agent.
Free-
They
well,
didn't-
yeah,
they
yeah, he
decided
was-
to go another direction.
Right. Well, Cleveland didn't want him.
Well, he looked pretty good right there, running down the whole field for the New York Jets.
And Rob, not that Carlos Hyde is a bad player, because I'm not gonna say that. I'm not saying that at all.
He's
but
okay.
But that looked like a pretty good run by one Mr. Crowell. My God, I mean, this is something where you really have to see it to believe it. Because if somebody called you and said, the Jets are ahead 48-17 against Detroit, you'd be like, yeah, 48 points.
We do have a game after this, which
Yeah.
is good because if this was the only Monday Night Football game tonight, I mean, this is not even a contest. There's no entertainment factor to this game. 31 points in the third quarter.
Points in the third
Good
quarter.
God. Talk about rolling over Detroit. Oh, my
Boy,
God.
Boy, oh boy.
Disastrous debut for Matt Patricia.
and these
And
idiots.
the Jets, it looks like they traveled pretty well to this game,
Yes,
which
they
is good
did.
for them.
Oh my God.
Another reason why I don't mind the Jets at all. They have pretty good fans. They travel.
Oh, they absolutely do. You know what though? It's funny. You look at the Detroit fans, and that's the same bewildered look that the Giant that we Giant fans.
Well,
had
I'd be in my car halfway home if I were a Lions fan at this game. I would have thrown in the towel, Brad.
Oh, when it was 40,
would've left.
when it was 38-17, I would have been gone.
I mean,
At
good God, what are you
48, at
kidding me?
48-17,
And they're still going to trot out Matthew Stafford. I mean, maybe it's time to let Castle finish the game so this guy doesn't get hit anymore.
yeah, I mean he's getting. I mean,
what's
48
they're not
to
going to win.
17,
I
you're
mean,
down
holy
by-
smokes.
you're down by 31 points. You are not coming back on this Jet team. The Jets' defensive line owns this game. And basically, the line of scrimmage tonight has been owned by the New York Jets. I mean, I'm stunned. I would think the entire NFL world would be stunned by this because I don't think anybody could have seen this coming.
Well, the Lions, Matthew Stafford and the Lions receivers should get some garbage time here.
You would think, but I think if I'm Matt Patricia, I'm really wondering about their offensive line. I mean, what the heck
It's
is
been a
going on?
been a problem for years.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, the Jets. Everybody in New York who was following the Jets and reporting on the Jets were all saying the same thing. The Jets' pass rush is a major issue. That they're not going to be able to get any pressure on the quarterback. When you hear that, and then all they've done is just beat the living daylights out of Stafford, Detroit's line is really bad. I mean,
It's not good.
it's hard to believe how bad they are.
It's
Oh,
not
my
a good start
goodness
to the
gracious,
season.
the Lion fans have "Go Jets" signs on them. Boy, oh boy.
Now, if the Philadelphia fans did that, you'd
Oh my
you'd
God,
kill them for being
that's awful.
soft and
That's awful. I mean, how do you do that? How do you listen? I can understand that they probably are booing the living daylights out of him, and they deserve. The Lions would deserve to get booed, but I mean, you can't sit there with a sign that says "Go Jets." I mean, that's just a little. That's a little over the top. I mean, if that was me, I'd be on my way home. I would have been on my way home a long time ago. I mean,
all right. Let's review. Let's go rapid fire for these NFL games.
okay.
That happened yesterday. It's too early to make predictions. Well, first off, your thoughts on the game later. The Rams are going to Oakland. I think the Rams are
I
going
think the Rams are going to annihilate.
see, but
them.
Gruden and the front office, they send such a bad message to the players in the locker room, the season ticket holders, Raiders fans everywhere by trading your best player a week before the season. Morally, that's got to be a kick in the gut, no?
Yeah, but the other problem is that if you look at the talent on the field, the Rams' offense is one of the most talented offenses in the
their
league.
defense is no.
And their defense is pretty darn good too. And you know what? With they also have a great offensive line. I mean, Oakland is just they're going to get killed in this game. I mean, the Rams will probably score 40 to 50 points against them. I mean, I could easily see like 42-7, 42-14. You know, that kind of a game. I mean, it's going to be bad. I mean, the only way I could see it being close is if maybe the Rams turn the ball over a few times. I mean, that's really the only way. Because I mean, if the Rams play a clean game, they're going to slaughter them. I mean, am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
I mean, can you give me one reason?
I struggle. I find it hard to believe that both these Monday night games are going to be big time blowouts. We'll see. Love the Rams -4.
That's
Okay.
all the line is.
4.5,
boy.
4, depending on when
Boy.
you look.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you have a telephone, call the call the Golden
Call-
Nugget or call
yeah.
the Borgata.
Call
Get
Jim,
those bookies on the phone and
call
and
Jimmy. Go see
empty-
Jimmy Bags at the
Yeah,
the
go
bar down the
empty-
block.
and empty the bank account and put it all on the
I don't
LA
empty
Rams.
the bank account. It can go either way, but I like the Rams. All right, Minnesota beat San Francisco 24-16. Jimmy G looked horrible.
Very workmanlike game for the
the Vikings were favored. They were at home, and they went out there and took that out of business.
They won easily.
The Bengals go on the road. They win 34-23 over the Colts. My biggest takeaway from this game was Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck looked phenomenal. He looked like the old Andrew Luck, and they're going to be closer to 8 wins if Andrew Luck's healthy. Andrew Luck is an excellent player.
Here's the thing, see, week 1, it's tough to really gauge week 1, but everybody seems to improve from week 1 to week 2. I would look for the Colts to take a big step forward next week and play better. I just don't know if their defense can play better, but I do think their offense can. And that's a good sign for the Colts that he was able to play the whole game, not get injured, and be effective. So we'll see about that one.
He looked like the old Andrew Luck. He really did.
The Bengals, though, give the Bengals credit.
They won.
It's a new season. They found a way not to give a game away. I still don't like Andy Dalton in a big spot, and I like their coach.
Joe Mixon and A.J. Green were very dynamic.
Yeah, well, if they just give the ball to Mixon and try to control the ball, Cincinnati does have a pretty good defense. So
And I think second place, they're going to play the Ravens on Thursday night.
They own the Ravens.
That's a pretty good.
That's a big game. But you know what? They own the Ravens. They've owned them time and time again. So, and don't forget, last year they knocked the Ravens out of the playoffs in the final week of the season to put the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs.
Ravens might have a bone to pick there. Another season, same result. Patriots win at home. They beat the Texans 27-20. Deshaun Watson looked horrible. I'm surprised the Patriots really didn't put a major beat down on him with how bad the quarterback play was. But
well, I think
it doesn't matter who's on this team. It doesn't matter who Tom's throwing to. It doesn't matter who Belichick's coaching on defense. They're going to be there in the end.
Rob, the bottom line with the Patriots is I just think they're just getting started. It's a kind of a slow start, but they still won the game. I mean, last year I think they got off to a pretty slow start. No. Were
yeah,
they like
they were
2-2
or 1-2 after 3, I believe.
Okay, yeah, it was something like that.
They got smoked by the Chiefs on banner night, and then Deshaun Watson just really put it on him in like week 3.
Right, but then after that they were. I think they lost to New Orleans last year too, and then after that they were a different team. They just destroyed everybody. So listen, they're still the beasts of the AFC until further notice.
Dallas gets smoked 16-8. They looked horrible.
Yeah, no offense. Wide receivers are terrible. The Dallas offensive line is definitely not the same.
Well, 2 of their main pieces were hurt. Zach Martin didn't play yesterday, and Travis Frederick. Who knows what's going on with him?
Exactly.
With
basically,
that immune deficiency disease, whatever he has.
Well,
they're talking about he might not be back until like week 8.
What about the guy that was accused of rape?
Who was that?
Didn't one of their guys just get accused of rape? Dallas?
I think
don't know.
Randy Gregory had some type of relapse.
Yeah.
Is that what he did, though?
Yeah, Randy Gregory had something. I know Lyle Collins had an issue.
Somebody just got accused of rape on that team, and I'll look it up real quick. But let me see real quick.
Hey, we're almost out of time, aren't we, Frank?
Yep.
All right, well, let's wrap it up. That'll do it for the Sports Hounds. We'll be back with you next week to review a big Eagles win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Ex-Cowboy Joseph Randall. My bad.
Joseph Randall. Used to be on the team, not
Used
anymore.
to be on the team.
He's
Sorry,
Brad
guys.
Ryer, Frank Vesby produced. I'm Rob Brinkman. Sports Hounds. Be back with you next week. Have a good night, everybody.